of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over. This will allow the country to begin to return to some normalcy. Mr. Longo was not only an ordinary citizen, but our 6th Republican president. While we recognize that he belongs to a family, he also belongs to the nation of Zambia. I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then. But come and talk to me. Let's not talk over each other. Let's talk to each other. That's the message. About everything. The welfare of the, we can unblock the distortion in the salary scale.
I'll invite you to participate in this debate. This evening, the State House released dirty rogue State House, not the official State House. You know, they run Causeway, they run, that Zambia information, accurate information. They have various blogs. This evening, they've been circulating a video purporting. They lifted some comments from Twitter, and then they generated an AI trying to portray that the South African people had rejected laying to rest the late president. The material is total hate speech, and you must have seen it. I posted it earlier, and State House is getting very dirty, very desperate. It's like they unleashed Simon Moore. It's like it's not enough. He insulted the president, in death. They've continued to insult the family. It's like that's not enough. Now they've gone to AI and produced this dirty material. But good and goodness will prevail. It doesn't matter what the emotions are. Good always prevails over evil. This matter has been bungled by no other person other than the president. Let me elaborate. And we are praising, this is not time for insults. This is time for an honest debate that builds our country, no insults. When the late president needed to go to treatment, he has a condition that State House was aware. It's a public knowledge that this condition for the public, President Edgar Lungu has been battling with it since 2015. He has a condition, it wasn't life-threatening, it wasn't fatal, but it could if he doesn't see the specialized treatment. The first doctors that saw him at Maina Soko in 2015 said this can only be treated by specialized treatment outside the country. They didn't have expertise, material, or equipment to deal with that particular condition. And so President Edgar Lungu started treatment in 2015, and he needed to see his doctors at least once every 6 months. That condition he had on the throat, on his esophagus, had the potential to become cancerous, also had potential to become fatal if it was not managed. Hence the 6 months treatment. Could he live a normal life? Yes, he could. Many people live even up to the age of 100. It wasn't a fatal condition, but it required management. When President Edgar Lungu lost power, he went for his usual medical checkup and medical treatment in 2022. After that, he was stopped. He was not allowed. For 3 years, he was not allowed to seek his medical treatment. You and I have recounted the matter here that in November 2024, his doctors were so worried. Mr. President, the last time we saw you is in 2022. And we can't consult over the phone. You need to come to South Africa. He says, look, I've tried several times. Even my last try in September and October, they still stopped me. His doctors flew to Zambia, checked on him, and they still made the recommendations that we don't know what you are going to do, but you need to be in South Africa. And that's how he literally sneaked out of the country on January 20th, which even saw the dismissal of an employee of the National Airports Corporation, Kasonde, Paul Kasonde, was fired. He was a civil aviation manager and was fired for allowing the president to travel. So don't believe the lies that government allowed him to. Why would they fire someone? Why did they frantically try to stop the late president from traveling? Then the 6 months period before is passing on. No government official went to see him. No government official was interested in his condition. They never paid his bills. But they made him a subject of rumors, of defamation, of ridicule. There were matters raised in parliament that there should be full disclosure of what he was suffering from, whether he was admitted, whether he was in ICU. There were those demands. And the usual dirty pages from State House kept on running these insults against the late president. No, he's in ICU. No, he's going. No, CR1 would even quote State House that now he has confirmation that it will not be beyond 3 days. For 6 months, they ran the dirty propaganda. The president dies on June 5th. Let's ignore the politics. Let's assume that President Hakainde Hichilema was playing politics. Let's ignore that President Hakainde Hichilema was playing politics. But when the late president died, his official duties as president required that he steps in. He should have announced his death. He didn't, because the first statement should come from the president. Even if any other person issues a statement, or the blogs speculate, Dam on TV, Crown TV speculate, or a family member issues a statement, a formal statement to be quoted by the entire world needs to come from the president. This has been done in all the past 5 presidents that have died. I gave you the particular example of my case of the late President Frederick Chiluba. I announced at 04, but the president was in Chipata. He still proceeded to make his national address, and they immediately took over the process and opened Belvedere Lodge for books of condolences and shifted the family there. The president reneged to do his duty as president. Government did not speak for 3 days. The next time we saw government speak was when Secretary to Cabinet Patrick Kangwa spoke 3 days later on Sunday. Even that, he just announced a period of national mourning of 7 days. He said the head of state had declared 7 days of national mourning. Now, how do you make a declaration of a period of national mourning? You do not have the widow in the country. You do not have the body in the country. You have not spoken to the family. They had attempted to speak to the family because, remember, we've been cataloging. We have to repeat the facts for our audience to be informed in the sphere of this intense propaganda that is being run from the heart of our country, from State House. They had sent Mulambo Haimbe. He arrived on Friday, the 6th. And all he wanted was a body, that the president wants a body. No, what do you mean with the president wants a body? No, he has to declare a period of national mourning. We have to start mourning. So he says, no, there are issues here. There are bills. You guys have been absent the last 6 months. You just can't come here and commandeer. No, the ZAF plane is waiting. The first meeting was explosive. They said, okay, maybe the emotions are too high. Let's have the meeting the following day. On Saturday, Mulambo Haimbe and the family had the second meeting. And he was very insistent that the president had given him instructions that the remains of the late president must be in Zambia by Sunday. The body must be in Zambia by Sunday because they need to declare the period of national mourning. Now, if we parintantiko, like kuno tuli kuno South Africa, aba kuno South Africa na abalomba tufiletwa kwa church service, and we are planning for Tuesday or Wednesday. So the latest the body can leave here is Wednesday. And let the government program, we recognize his head of state, former head of state. He was president of our country for 7 years. Let a period of national mourning begin when the body arrives in the country. That was the first condition broken by government. This was on Saturday. On Sunday, they declared period of national mourning of 7 days. They declared the period when the president would be put to rest on Saturday. Yet they had not resolved these outstanding issues. The family proceeded to have the church service with South African community on Tuesday, and they announced that they were not ready to repatriate the body on Wednesday, as earlier indicated. And also because on Monday, we need to catalog, on Monday, Monday the 9th, I think, new people emerged that they were now representing government. This was Secretary to Cabinet, Patrick Chagwa, and said he had brought a delegation led by the former Vice President, Enoch Kavindele, and Leslie Mbola. The family was outraged because even as late as previous week, one of these emissaries were issuing disparaging statements against the late president. So they rejected the emissaries. The meeting was put off. Later in the evening on that Monday, they regrouped, but Secretary to Cabinet came without the two senior emissaries. And that's how they started the meeting. They discussed that there was a church service on Tuesday and there was a possible repatriation of the remains on Wednesday. I think again the talks broke down. The commitment from government was not final. There was no program laid out. There was the family after announced at that church service at the burial that the remains of the late president would not be coming to Zambia. So the failure of leadership to follow processes, the president should have ensured that he has resolved all matters, because there were matters. At the hospital, the bills, how they've been staying, and all these other issues. And you just can't relocate people that have been in South Africa since the last 6 months. Thanks to Mama First Lady, every time she had the court case, she left the husband and traveled to Lusaka to come and attend to those court cases. There was even no one who was compassionate to say, during this period, may we suspend her court cases. No one. Because the more they inflict pain, the more it probably pleases them. There was no humanity demonstrated during this period. So you just can't come and appear in charge. You have not done your duty as president. You have not declared the period of national mourning. You have not you have not spoken. You have not given even a tribute to the late president. You've done none of that. You keep quiet for 7 days. 7 days. The president only spoke 7 days later. This is why I'm saying, you want a body, you dig the graveyard. Mwaimba. Yeah. Other things, you are very efficient. At things that you need to be efficient to, you are not. You are derelict in your duties. The body and the first lady are not in the country, but in Mandaena na Mwimba na Mupuisha. It's like you are quick to do things that don't matter, but things that are at the heart of being, demonstrating humanity in bereavement, they are absent. So who do I blame? I'm blaming the president. I am blaming the president. And I'm saying we've put priority. It's typical. We like putting priority to things that don't matter in our country. We had the maize crisis. There was drought coming. We exported all our maize. We have load shedding. We are still exporting power. We have this lopsided. Ichitumbi tachila Afrika. Umubiri wabaka teka taulaisa mchalo mwalimbe chitumbi mwalipusha. Was there even a family representative? Was there a family representative? So I'm saying that the challenges we face, all our 6 presidents have stayed in State House. This man has refused to go to State House. He blows up a huge bill every day to go to State House. Yet the people of Zambia had built that a humble house and a humble office for the president to work from. And also it keeps the system, making the head of state accountable to the system. Because people he meets at community house, we don't know. People that fly in, there are 2 helicopter pads at the back. We don't know. Because that's a private house and you can't demand for answers. Not even the system can demand. All the system can ensure is that the man is secure. But when you are at State House, and if you are in a democracy like in the US, everything you do, every phone call you make is recorded. Donald Trump can't make a call to anyone without the knowledge of the system. They keep the record. They might not make them public, but they keep the record. You need a head of state is a very powerful entity. Just because, not that it just symbolizes the nation, but the immense power he carries when you vote him into power the next 4 or 5 years. He carries the shoulders of the country. He can take you to war. He can either bring peace. He can do anything as head of state. So how do you make him accountable? He needs to live at State House. That State House is vacant. Imboko Shioili vacant. For me, the 2 issues symbolizes that there's a failed leadership. And we've seen it in the issue of the economy, in the issue of power crisis, in the hunger crisis that we had. We've seen it in every sector. These 2 issues for me symbolizes failed leadership. I'll invite you to call. Here is a quick update. So the family has announced that the burial of the late president will be in South Africa. Cut, certain, final. The burial will be done in South Africa. At my last address, I pleaded with the president. In fact, the last daily updates I've been pleading with the president. From the time they sent Honorable Enoch Kavindele and Leslie Mbola, I said, Takwa Wabantu. And who is the biggest stakeholder in this funeral? It's not Makebi Zulu. It's Mama First Lady. Ushatamwa kwa tabantu ngaba ileikala pa mattress na bamayo. Even your own spouse, bamayo bamutinta, ngabari alosha na bamayo. Batoto shanya, chinchi cha shupa. You mean we couldn't find maybe Dr. Christine Kaseva or Mama Tandiwe Banda? I know bamayo Vera Chilwabalwele. You mean we couldn't find some senior women in our country who could have helped resolve this crisis? Look at the negotiators. I think there were 19 negotiators, no single woman. Well, you meet Makebi Zulu and his team. That's what you will be. You will meet Makebi Zulu and his team. But imagine, there is what we call soft power. Imagine if you had sent the First Lady. Okay, secure the First Lady, maybe put her out of this. But the senior women in our country, maybe former First Ladies, maybe a group of former ministers who worked with the late president and who the First Lady knows. So there was no wisdom in the messenger. Let me just take this.
Good evening, Ambassador Mom.
Do you wish to participate?
Yes, please.
Okay, just a minute. Let me just give my brief. Just hold on. You are live and you are on, but let me just finish the brief. So, the late president will be put to rest on Wednesday in South Africa. Funeral and burial programs, I think, are being hammered out. We'll get the details maybe by tomorrow or Monday. There is a failure to resolve this matter. I don't understand how the president cancelled the period of national mourning. There was a frantic statement by my dear brother Clayson Amasaka, and he issues terrible statements. I wish he could clear them with his friends. He has issued a statement that the president didn't cancel the period of national mourning. All of us have reported that the president cancelled because we saw the video. We know the period the president declared the first 7 days. Then he did an extension of another 9 days, total 16 days. But on the 13th day, he abruptly halted the period of national mourning and he says we should come to normal life. In fact, all his pages, Koswe and others even began to celebrate. Let's forget this. The funeral is behind us. They are burying in South Africa. Let's begin a normal life. Let's table the parliament. He cancelled. So why are you issuing a statement that he didn't cancel? He did cancel. Everyone has reported, from Reuters, Bloomberg. You mean all of us misunderstood the president? Here, let me just play you a few videos to see about this cancellation.
Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over. This will allow the country to begin to return to some normalcy.
The government of Zambia has refuted claims that the national mourning period has been cancelled in that country. The mourning period follows the death of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu, who died here in South Africa while receiving specialized medical treatment. In a statement, the Zambian government said it is false that President Hakainde Hichilema has abruptly cancelled the national mourning period for the late statesman. It says it is a misrepresentation of the facts. However, the Zambian government says President Hichilema has in fact extended the period of national mourning and not cancelled it. It further states that the extension was granted in good faith in order to accommodate the wishes of the Lungu family, who requested additional time for logistical and personal reasons. The government says it is very important to note that under normal circumstances, the official period of national mourning for a former head of state is prescribed at 7 days, and in this case, the president exercises discretion and goodwill to extend that period well beyond the statutory time frame.
Yesterday, June 18th, the people of Zambia were prepared to receive the remains of our former president, but were surprised by the family's reversal of the agreed course of action. At our request, the South African government prepared extensively with military honors mounted by the South African Defense Force, who did so in vain, as the former president's body was not availed by the family for repatriation to Zambia. For this unfortunate situation, we extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa, the government, and the people of South Africa. Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over. This will allow the country to begin to return to some normalcy.
He cancelled the period of national mourning and urged the country to return to form of normalcy. The period was known, it was supposed to go up to 23rd. It was cancelled. And why the impasse? The impasse is very simple. Because there was one small issue that the family had requested, that the president's participation in this funeral be limited. He will not be everywhere, he will be limited according to the wishes of the late president. And I'll later play a video when he was on my Conversation podcast, how he objected to people presiding over the late President Michael Sata's funeral. Yet in life, they tormented him with harsh words, with ridiculous words, and perpetrated hatred. And even when he died, they rushed to campaign. I'll play that video when President Edgar Lungu, just 8 months ago, was mourning that you cannot torment me in life and attempt to celebrate me in death. I'll play that video. Bachirufe mumuli wakalamba mwewekala ku UK mwabombeni elo mwaisen kuli program.
Ndita. Am I alive?
Yes, you are. You are not alive, you are alive, because you are already alive. So now you are alive and you are alive.
Yeah. Dr. Mwamba, you know that I supported UPND.
Deeply you did.
Yeah. I love the party. I love the president. I'm not just, people don't know me because I worked in the background.
Yeah.
And the nation should listen. I worked with the president. The way I'm talking to you, I was talking to the president.
Yeah.
I've got access to the president through WhatsApp messages. So before I talk about the funeral, I saw a video which the president says he doesn't want to be confronted. He wants to be spoken to. Bamwamba, I wrote to the president, and I hope he's listening to this.
Yeah.
I wrote to the president through through Bradford Machila. And I hope Bradford is listening. Before I resigned from UPND. That was last year. And I said, I'm resigning from you. I want to talk to the president because of these issues. 1, 2, 3. One of the issues I raised was the sale of Mopani. KCM, the president not staying in State House, the president not declaring his assets, the president traveling a lot. The same thing he condemned Lungu.
But Chilufya, just remind me, you are a deep supporter. You've been a deep supporter of the president and UPND. Just go to the issues that you felt the president was not doing well. List them again.
I'm going there, but I just wanted to answer the question where he said, you need to confront me. You need to talk to me.
Yes.
So I'm trying to explain that I spoke to the president, not confronting him. I wanted to speak to him. I arranged a meeting with him. Bradford agreed. When are you coming into the country? Everything was arranged. I arrived in Lusaka. Bradford stops answering my calls. So is this the president who is saying you can speak to me?
Don't confront me.
Don't confront me, come to me. I went to him. And I'm not just an ordinary Zambian. Somebody who used to speak to him, somebody who raised money for UPND, somebody who organized the diaspora all over the world. Bring them into one group, raise money, policy making, everything. He refused to speak to me. Okay, then put aside, Bamwamba, this is not politics.
Yeah.
Whether I was UPND or what, I was going to be against this. What this government has done is bad. And you've mentioned one thing, leadership. Bamwamba, the issue of leadership in Zambia hasn't started today. Zambia is in this situation because of lack of leadership, lack of patriotism, lack of national interest. When you see cadres, they're not patriotic. Their allegiance is to a president and a political party, not to Zambia and the constitution.
Yeah.
So here is a president, and then Bamwamba, this law of saying the president, when he goes into active politics, then he loses his status as a state asset and everything. This law should have been stopped. You remember this law was passed in 1998 because Kaunda didn't want Kaunda to go into active politics. So this law to start with wasn't made in the best interest of the nation. So if Zambia had leadership, one of the presidents after Chiluba should have stopped this law, should have repealed this law. Especially HH, they should have repealed that law. In South Africa, there's no laws like that. Mbeki, who is a member of the ANC, decided to rebel against the government during Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
He even campaigned against ANC, but he wasn't fired. He never lost his benefits. So one of the greatest leadership teacher, mentor, and coach, Miles Monroe, said, third world countries, most of them in Africa, they will never experience sustained growth and development until they start to bring leadership into politics. All we do is politicking. True leaders, Bamwamba, are unifiers.
Yeah.
True leaders are emancipators. True leaders believe in dialogue. Our president has shown that he's not a leader. He has failed to resolve a thing that I could have resolved, and I'm not even a president. In a conflict like this, it's a win-win situation. There's no winner. But he wants to imagine a winner, which means he's not a leader.
It's a political contest. I must win.
Yes, it's a political contest.
The body will lie in Zambia. You make the declaration as if there are no other stakeholders.
Yes. But running a nation is not just by the executive. It's a collective responsibility and a collaboration with all stakeholders involved in the nation. We're talking about the church, the civil society, the law association, the business, parliament, government institutions, and you, Bamwamba, and myself. That's why you find a president who wakes up today and say, I'm gonna amend the constitution. You like it or not, I've got numbers. That's not a leader. That process should have gone. Imagine all the stakeholders are saying, no, we don't want that. But him is trying to use the power to do that. But who gave him that power? Who vested that power to him? It's the people. So how can you now tell the people who vested that power into you that I'm going to use the power against you? Bamwamba Kaunda, former president, was taken throughout the country. There was no problem. Lungu, they just said, Vane, let's take him to Petauke, where he comes from, and Copperbelt, where I grew up. Just like me, I grew up in the Copperbelt. I would love to be taken to Nkana Hotel or Edinburgh Hotel. That's the center of Kitwe. That's where I grew up. And I come from Chinsali. I would love to be actually buried in Chinsali. You know, I come from royalty in Chinsali. We've got a village called Mundu Village. We've got a family cemetery there. My father was buried there in 2010. And I would love to be buried there. Even if I became a president of Zambia, I want to be buried at Mundu Village, at our family village, grave. So what is the problem? Kaunda was taken over. What about Lungu? So, and then apology. This is a man who was stripped of national status when he was alive. So at what point did they change that status? From a non-state asset to a state asset. That was what was supposed to be the beginning of everything. HH needed to apologize to the family. That's leadership. Leaders are humble. Humility is very important, not ego. Leaders are humble. He should have apologized, and that was the beginning. The day the president was announced dead, national broadcasting, the public broadcasting, never showed a clip about Lungu dying. So what is so important about this Lungu, which took the president 3 days to announce
7 days
that he's dead? What is so that important that they just want his body to be buried in Zambia? Without solving all these problems around, without solving the conflict, without not even listening to the family. You know, and what was the rush of stopping?
Bachilufia, one of the conditions was that the president should not come anywhere near the body, should not participate in this funeral.
That was the wish of the family. You cannot stop it. And
so there was a compromise. There was a compromise.
There's no way it's written in the constitution that the president, state funeral means the president has to be available. There are so many state funerals when presidents have never been available.
Correct. The family finally gave in and conceded that the president could superintend. He would superintend over the funeral, of course, but he could attend the funeral, for example, when the one on Sunday, the one that was prescribed for Sunday, when he was going to host the leadership. So what do you think has been the problem to stay away from this funeral as requested by the family?
The problem is politics, Mamwamba, and power. You know, what HH needs to understand, and other African leaders, leadership is not about power. It's not about authority. is not about position. It's not about ego. Leadership is about using that power to find solutions to the greatest challenges his people are facing. What are the greatest challenges his people are facing? Starvation, hunger, unemployment, poverty, conflict. Zambia is not united as a nation. Zambia is divided into tribal and regional lines. So this was an opportunity for a president to unify the nation. Great leaders are unifiers. Great leaders are emancipators. And our president has failed.
Yeah. Thank you, Chilufya. You can call later. Let's see if we can accommodate some views.
I rest my case, Bamwamba.
Thank you very much. God bless you. That was Patrick Chilufya from the United Kingdom. The line is open. You can now call. Let me just play this video by the late president when he appeared on my podcast. And this was his view about the tug of war that we had on that day on 27th and 28th October, where the church service should take place. Some family members and the PF said it should take place at the Cathedral of Child of Jesus. And the state insisted that it would take place at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, the Anglican one. And so I asked the president for this view. This was what he said. Just listen to it before I take over the
PF. And the same people should be presiding over his 10th memorial. The same people should be putting his ghost to rest forever. And we are watching. We can't accept that. That's why people are saying, what's going on in Zambia? What's going on? Because I don't want to say people were happy and excited when Mr. Sata passed on. Because that's a fact. You can check it out for yourself. I don't want to say from day one, after Mr. Sata died, people began trying to destroy his memory by destroying PF.
Just to put it very in clear context, you are saying when Mr. Sata died, some people celebrated.
Yes.
They even began to campaign immediately.
Yes. Yes.
They saw it as an opportunity to get to office.
Yes. So that is a fact. And now, the same people went further when they got power in 2021 to destroy his party. And tomorrow they want to attend the memorial to make sure that even his party dies with him forever. We can't allow that. So for me, I'm waiting between now and tomorrow morning to see what happens. How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and be made to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall? Yeah. In the 10th anniversary, or how do you get
to be dishonored?
How do you get remembered in a SDA church when everyone knows that you're Catholic and so on? And the state insists. And the worst part is that I have learned that the Secretary to Cabinet is Catholic.
Yes, he is.
And so he's the Deputy Oliver Karabo. They're Catholic. And they should have told government to say, look, how these things are done. Especially Patrick Chagwa, who is a practicing Catholic church member, and I've seen him in church even giving Mass, Holy Communion and so on. He should have said, wait a minute, we want to participate in this program? That's good. So let us engage the church to which the late President Sata belonged, and then we participate in there. Any insistence that we hold it in a mosque or in any other church building would have been frowned upon. To say, no, sir, Mr. President, we can't do that. Because now I'm getting feedback, say, I don't know much about these things. Someone says, no, there's satanism and so on. So, but the truth of the matter is that na it's a handle office of the president. Twakota courage in decency, sir. In the name of decency, let's not do it this way. Let's do it this way. What I thought they would do is to go to the Catholic Church where the man is. Cathedral of the Holy Cross would be a bonus, but he used to attend St. Ignatius. Go to St. Ignatius, and then if the parish priest said, no, it's too small a place for the 10th one because the more the state is here, it means we are too many. Let's seek the...
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem there. But come and talk to me. Let's not talk over each other. Let's talk to each other. That's the message. About everything. The welfare of the... Yeah, we can... And I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this because where I grew up, we fear nothing.
He fears nothing. He doesn't want to be confronted. So, Mzambili Repochimo. But unfortunately, Mr. President will confront you. You are head of state. You are elected by the public and will put the facts to you as they are. You might not like them. Some will be uncomfortable truth, but will put them to you. So it doesn't matter how you are cultured. You are now our head of state and your duty is to listen. Infumu, shitungirila naba kabilo, with Indunas. It is not about your attitude or how you are. It is how, you rule by consensus, by listening to your advisors. You have a huge set of advisors. One led by Bradford Machila, the other one led by Tony Blair, the other one led by Greg, Dr. Greg Mills from Brent's. You have a lot of advisors. Listen to them at least. It doesn't matter how you are cultured. So, Wakola, we have an emotive issue here of leadership. We have an empty tomb. There's a possibility that President Lungu may not lie there. There's an empty state house. I am saying these two issues are symbolizing as defining who President Hakainde Hichilema is, failure of leadership, and we can catalog. So join in the debate. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yeah, hello. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello?
Hello, Ambassador.
Yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
John Mabo, Zambia.
Mkwaiba Mabo. Hello, Mwachuleni. You were beaten at Intercity bus terminus, but I saw social media disputing.
I don't know. Ambassador Forward, I got a master's degree in business administration,
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things they teach us in the corporate world, what you hide your true intentions in the details.
Yeah.
So then one of that corporate module, in real life, because I was a bit emotional late.
Yeah.
I have a community that I lead, which belongs to the Zambian people, and you can't be emotional if you are a leader. I think it's one of the things my own father taught me, actually.
Mm.
No, but I also was talking about school. I remember when we were doing our thesis, sometimes we conduct our research on the ground using a questionnaire.
Mm.
So regarding this situation, because but what do the Zambian people want? What's the general public's sentiments regarding all of this? Because it seems national interests are a little bit overlooked. So those early morning briefings, the presidency is subjected to every day in cabinet office. What does if, for example, Lungu served the nation?
Yes.
Some of us left our country, like 2013, we left Zambia. Maybe after 3 years or 4, we came back to visit. We found like Lusaka had changed, you know. There are these flyover bridges and these ring roads, blah blah. There's so much he did, and I don't know why we can't mourn him in a dignified manner. Even, you know, some of us who came to really mourn, because I don't even know what to think. So what I mean, Zambia, because this is not about burialEdgar Lungu or family yavo or Vaaka in the Ichilema or UPND Namakada's yavo. You know, I spoke to my lawyers here. I have these people, you know them, but they advised me not to the press charges. But because this guy, Puraku Intercity Ambassador, this guy was on in my face telling me, this is what he was saying.
Yeah. He didn't even know you're from Italy. You're not resident in Zambia.
Yes, and I was looking at this guy, you know, I felt pity for him. He's so miserable. He looked miserable, but very beaten, angry, and he's Zambian. I felt bad for him. I don't harbor any anger for those guys. But then I started thinking, but why are we doing this? What about all these people in Lusaka, all those people on the Copper Belt, all those people in Southern Province, Northwestern, Northern? What are they thinking about all of this? What are we still having misplaced priorities as a people? Because this country is becoming like it's personalized. And the empire, the brain energy and focus is on vengeance, revenge. Okay, but what about the nation? I wanted to ask a questionnaire that has been written. You know, we can find it somewhere on a government institution blog or something where we can write as Zambians. Ordinary Zambians are every day are working. Every day these people are working here, Lusaka Ambassador, every day. And they can't even meet their, I don't know, nama school fees in but how are you? Life as per people in the 1%, people who do well in Zambia are arguing about this and that. Even heritage, yes, so of course it's at ransom. We are very embarrassed now to the world, you know. I was thinking, because I've been devastated by the death of Lungu, and I started thinking, okay,
and you traveled from Italy, to come and mourn him.
Yes.
So that we commend you, but sadly you were beaten at Intercity because you were wearing a T-shirt for Edgar Lungu. That's very sad. The very reflection of what the division we are fighting in our country. Bamabo, I don't know if you have your last words. Let me see. The queue is forming up. Let's see how many calls we can quickly get up.
I don't like to say this, but I want the UPND government to ask the Zambian people what they want regarding this funeral and also other issues pertaining to the welfare of the nation, the health, the nation, my tradition and culture. I think my traditional chiefs, even the church, should collaborate with the government and see what we can do, because I'm not taking it personal. I don't regret, like I said, coming here. I'm not complaining. But what's happening here, it feels gloomy being in my own country. I've always been a patriot. I love my country, but I would say this. I feel disdain for my country right now. And I hope I'm in Zambia, with a goodness to Akwata, we don't lose it. And I hope especially considering what he went through more opposition, he can create a mark in a legacy where people said, oh, Mamona, not taking it personal and revenge in Efia Shala. And then I hope family Lungu, because it's emotional for them. Kuti basanga at least an agreement with the government. The government na politics no kuba emotional. They think about the nation, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mabo. Mabo from Italy is currently in Zambia. He had purposefully traveled to mourn with Zambians. Let's pick as many calls as possible. But I've seen two burning questions. People are asking me, that there's an article running around written by a gentleman called Skyle, I think, is purporting that it's impossible to put to rest the late president in South Africa without government's approval. Come on, Skyle, don't fool yourself. I was at the Zambian High Commissioner in South Africa. The only paper they would require from us is if you are repatriating the body, I need to confirm as ambassador. But if they're burying in Zambia, the embassy doesn't participate. But we mourn. We come as the Zambian, a Zambian national has died, and I would usually send people. But if I'm repatriating the bodies, if an undertaker is repatriating a body, they want confirmation, issues of the passport, and they want confirmation that this was a Zambian national, and there's a form that we sign together with Home Affairs. Yes, if you are repatriating the body. So the late president can be put to rest with or without government authority. And there are various authorities. Recently, there was an issue of an Angolan general who's a hero in Angola, and government of Angola wanted him repatriated, but the family refused. Said there's been a feud, we are not safe in Angola, and the South African government authorized the body to lie in South Africa. So do not fool yourself. There will be pseudo experts that we made during this period. The other one is they're saying President Hakainde Hichilema has rushed to South Africa, has traveled to South Africa with a delegation to come to discuss with the family. Well, if he has traveled, very well, but the family has not heard anything as I'm discussing with you now. But it's propaganda that it could be true, but it's propaganda from the other side that he has rushed to South Africa. That I can confirm to you that we don't know that. That question you can send to Clayson Amasaka and the 23 other spokespersons, they might answer it. But about the body, about the late president's being put to rest in South Africa, he will be put to rest on Wednesday. As I have told you, on Wednesday. And does government have an opportunity to resolve this matter? If I were a government, I would camp in South Africa and ensure that the remains are brought to Zambia under the terms of the family. That's what I would do. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ramumba, calling you from Zambia.
Yes, my brother, please introduce yourself and make your contribution.
I'm Mr. Mumba, sir.
Mr. Mumba, make your contributions.
Yes, Mr. Mumba, I have a question for you. Are you people from the PF only who have emotions, or even people from the other side, they also have emotions? Because I don't understand. If the family, what you are saying, the family had agreed to say, or decided to say they're going to bury in South Africa, why is still talking about all this issue here?
My brother, please keep there. You can watch football. I'm not forcing anyone. You can go and watch football. Let's see other callers.
Hello?
If this matter is not of your interest, please go and watch football or watch other things. Come on TikTok. If this is not important to you, thank you. We say mkunkanye fe tulela ndapo edeni mbika po topic. Ngata iwe me waya tamba fimbi. We muntu wakwalesa. Fueling, no. This remains an emotional matter. There's a possibility that we have a head of state who will be put to rest in a foreign land. It's not an ideal situation to any Zambian, including the family. But the circumstances have forced such decisions. Hence, that's what I'm saying about an empty tomb. Mwaimbe manda, tama umfana na bene. Iwe manda ili empty. It's failure of leadership. That's what I'm saying. On this program, I've been saying Zambia. We have been in Zambia resolving. We helped bring conflict to an end. We housed ZANU from Zimbabwe and ZAP. They were fighting among themselves, but we acted as mediators of peace even when they were in our country. We hosted, ANC from South Africa. We hosted the South African Communist Party. We hosted SWAPO from Namibia. We have ended conflicts in DRC, in Angola. That is our level as a country. You mean the matter regarding the late president, our own president, who was president for 7 years, we cannot resolve it? That's all I am asking. You mean we cannot resolve this matter? We have to see our late president lie in a foreign land? And hence I'm questioning the leadership. And if you go to all the crises we have in the country, economy, load shedding, hunger, you see the same failure of leadership at every cycle. So I am telling you that this small matter is symbolizing the utter failure of leadership at a large scale. At a macro scale, the president has failed. And this small matter has demonstrated that he has failed. Matters that are important, like him living at State House, he doesn't take them seriously. This matter, he has not taken it seriously. He only responded to this matter 7 days later. That's when the people of Zambia saw him. That's my point. Solo ise ulanda tuilanda po. Au bane katambeni fimbi. Tuleke abantu abalivo kutamba here. I've looked at the missed calls rising to almost 176 missed calls just under this short period. Elo iwole njeva tawe. Bamomba mwilalanda pari ifi nafi pita. Nga nafi pita kabiya uko fipitile. Ifo ta fipitile. Nafi tukuma. So let us discuss it, and I want to hear your views. The lines keep on cutting, and that's why I'm not answering. Every time I answer, it's cutting. But keep on trying. It's jam-packed back to back. Just keep on trying. Just keep on trying. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mr. Mwamba, my name is Sam.
Yes, Sam.
I'm calling you from Western Province.
Yes,
Western
Sam.
Province, Zambia.
From Western Province?
Yes. So I've been, Western Province, sir.
Yes. Muchwani wondate.
Hello?
Muchwani wondate.
I'm not originally Lozi, however, I'm just here for work.
Yeah, I was there for work, and I could speak very efficient Lozi. Okay. Yeah, make your contribution, my brother.
I can speak as well. Yeah,
okay,
but,
make your contribution. Yeah, make your contribution.
Yes, thank you very much, Ambassador. I've been following your program quite keenly.
Yes, thank you.
However, there's some what I would say misgivings that I have concerning the matter at hand. I've seen there's some articles that have been flying around concerning the need for the president to have apologized to the family or to the former head of state at the time that he was alive. And I think that's where I have a little bit of a difference, because in my view, if we were to compare the level of what you might term mistreatment that the former head of state was subjected to compared to what former President Edgar Lungu was subjected to, you can't compare. It's daylight and night. There can be no argument about that. So I just don't quite get what they need, exactly what is there for the president to apologize for. So I would like just for you to shed more light on that. However, if we look at the facts, I think for me, there can be no argument as to who mistreated whom. And in my view, the president has exercised a lot of patience and restraint. And I think it's in part it played to his delay in lending a voice to the passing of the former president.
My
Because
brother, can I help you? You said you are comparing. In short, you are saying they mistreated each other, isn't it? You are saying President Lungu mistreated Hakainde Hichilema, and Hakainde Hichilema also mistreated Edgar Lungu. Is that true? Is that what you are saying?
There can be, I think there can be an argument as to, like, for instance, I would say the number of times that perhaps the former president was not allowed to make his movement outside the country when he needed to. There perhaps there can be an argument as to these other issues that might have been cited as being mistreatment. For me, for instance, his restrictions to the morning exercise that he was doing, there's a law that speaks to that, a bad law at that. But there is a law which the PF also used. So I kind of feel the comparison we cannot compare, because it was quite clear that the former president, when Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was in opposition, was quite hard on him.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the president has exercised a lot of restraint, a lot of patience, and I've kind of felt the family needed to meet him halfway, or rather meet the government halfway.
They did.
In the circumstances,
they did. In case you are not aware, for example, they dropped the call that there should be a ceremony in Ndola and Petauke. They dropped that. They finally allowed the president to participate, for example, when he was going to host his fellow presidents. So they allowed, there were a lot of concessions.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
thank you, my brother. But I think you've said your point, isn't it? You've said your point. Do you have any more things to say?
That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Litumez Shangwe. The duty is to forgive, and the impact is more to those who are alive to provide the leadership. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba. It's me, Kaunda, from East London. Today, let me mention my name, Munkonge Kaunda.
Wa Munkonge mwabomben ku East London.
Awo njifye wa mtende. Kwena, elo njefo kuipisha kwa ma questions ya moyo nchura na hena.
Kwa ipshen wangu.
Waka take over fuile kunse ya chalo. Uteko buleteka. Wali tumineko abantu kwea kungando ko balekala ku Zambia ukumona afyo bala batanga tapachiriro. Angula wali tumineko no mundu.
How bane ubuteko the last 14 days wali posele kwendala meshingi sana okutuma abantu ku South Africa ukudisha abantu pa Belvedere, but abachiro benanta pa banecho bali yako tabatwele ko obunga ku secretariat nangu kunganda kuli bakateka bale idisha febeka ku Belvedere.
Okay, because ine na litontonkanya posana nangu chinga ba kwebati iba balitekere chalo kwa ito right bakateka bacharo chonzi amba bakateka abalipo nasabo oko uteko bulipo nasabo mfira fe pali bode shamfo na ngubalanda cho bali twere na ubunga kula kunganda bale ikala lwe chiro cha kitike bali tumako abantu kuya mfa program yabafiri lofyo iri before na tabala chita submit ambane na sa mfira fe pachirindi because ichironga chaisa first kula boku mona twala tanga tashanya abantu oro nombo kwa boku mona ushe chirindi chitwala twala sonke mpia.
Yeah.
Nangu kuli bala chiringi chala vera ku VIP o chala vera kushani nomba ine chichirilo chali mpapusha na samu kumfafe pali bote eka lelo fisangwa muchirilo efingi nfyumfamu nfyumfamu so ningufafe oluse kuba rufisho omuntu because oro omuntu mwarufyo omuntu kulabo kupokerera kumbali uko apusana kuti mwali mfwana nabo baraisa munshire yapusanako imbebe ngamiretera nensansa okumona approach barafika kulimu nomba na mwikala kwena mulelo shamwasa mfwa kufya to nabemba kale chirinju bana nyabe mbire chiringi tabishire pona pamaliro tabamitumire pona phone atyo kabiri company nangu walebomba company iringiro ku kwimbe chiringi first waraisa pachiro babikene tent baba chitenango wali kuzafu nango wali kuisabala isaba shirika babika yamatenti baleta na mana abantu bali ya chawa baba isa uko walebomba nomba bena bakateko uko balebomba takuli fimbi fya kwafu ako
Wamunkonge leken tusende kona ambia ma phone calls yafula Natasha sana. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. I'm hiding my ID. Ndikuno kwa kaputa.
Kwa imayo mwewe na kaputa mwalosheni.
Thank you very much. Bushem kwa iba ndume yesu abo bachituma balanga tumachya bapusha mchilozi shachumfu kishefo bala bayasuka.
Kwa.
Lelo pali shonse bati londolola. Defa yokutimi kusheba mwamba okutibisheta kuli abashipire. Ukulanda okutila. Ili pa Wednesday mubiri waba lungu walingiri okwisa. Ikyalengere ati almost there chichitike chinshi. Nisha abantu tebalelandiro kwe but if they followed everything well, tabeshira ikatila fie ichintu pamulu. Ba lawyer wa family ba Makebi Zulu na ba permanent secretary ba Kangwa as designated by the president kula hakaindo kutika wombe ni mulima mulandisha nyino olukola wabalungu balecho mubiri wabalungu kuno. Kwali ama agreements ba pangile. The next day, bose babelenga Makebi babelenga twamfo kutila family yabalungu ile chita demand ukutila katulefa ya president hakainde ukwisa kumubiri wabalungu nango kupalama kuchitumbi chabalungu. I don't know why ipakali abalela nde chichishinga. Ile kwali nombati ba permanent secretary bachite relay to the state ukutila agreement yasiminishiwa pa Wednesday 20th nishu mubiri wa Africa no 15th or 16th nishu mubiri wa Africa ku Zambia ku airport ku South Africa baipekanya kunona ku Zambia na kwabo kuipekanya nomba chisha shilelenga pampela anshita chifitoloke ifya belengele bakangwa please ba mwamba for any letter of agreement or whatever document they call it ya belengele ba kangwa to the states kulingana ati bakapokele umubiri ukema ku South Africa bakalete ku KIC ku airport elyo bakainde bakabeko bukupokelela elo umubiri bakawutwale tu kokwine bapekenye elyo bakalaini yo umubiri babwese shokwelo kukaba president akainde nation delo dollar limbita fili clear. Ula nishige nkalatana those papers of agreement iya belengele ba Makebi Zulu iya belengele ba Kangwa to the state which almost all Zambians have believed the government. The government is telling the truth and it has played a genuine decent role to say na tuombesha katulecho mbili wakafoma kateka pano. Inga the demand of the family ukutira tulefa ya president HH bakese kuli chichiriro bantu yabende balungu balandile. Chishi once emwe ntunguru stamulelandile chachi nechine kuli cyber law ngati waikalira cyber law ichalo chesitala unaika nishi bala kani nokulanda echishinga imwe ba brother wesu abali uko ku north western mwachibatala miposha ku western bala miposha mchilozi jokingly na ine wine nalikala kumongu kuli mulunga ifatuli bana ba civil servants in the Kaunda time when he posted us from northern province to northwestern so we spoke brongo mwane koseni mwane mwakosa we went to south the western province and we spoke ichilozi and shama so hande kiuka ili tapi twalilanda 8 languages ku northwestern kutila lande chitonga ku southern kamwamba banene you know I'm not totally lost among 4, 5, 6 Zambian languages because Bakaunda bale posto mufyashi civil servant ku southern province wa northern ku eastern province wa southern and the other ways so cho mufiri okwishi bachakulanda ati one Zambia one nation tatwa itobolole tule ikula ngakuli ngakuli abafiri okukula bashile opportunity bambi bakule Tetokota kuli yoko tukaya Zambia 8 or 9 neighboring countries once everybody bapo war-torn areas except for Tanzania. Hallelujah, independence here all these countries. Even when they are saying touch the host by South Africa to shika there are a lot of ignorant South Africans who do not see the point that Ramaphosa is just honoring us Zambians. Like saying, you people, you have been there for me. In the confusion that you are developing in yourselves, Katumia folk dissolve. Shikeni Longo kuno. But we don't know, maybe in future, when another government comes in, please, muchibemba batila ushilumbula mfani mukamwenso. What I mean here is that chonse chichile chitikanga mulechino kusonta pafishinka mulino omwenso wonse tacha twafe mu Zambia. Takuli kwa kubutukilo mu Zambia nga kabobwa, muno mu Zambia nga kabobwa, kandi takuli kumbi kwa bomutende nga mu Zambia. All neighboring countries ni fewo tusola nkondo yabo. Do we understand? Yeah. So mweba mwema Zambians abali konso komuli na imwe mweba ku diaspora nga tuleso ku diaspora mulonfa news quicker than if bonsa kuna ku Zambia because ifuma internet mwashipata mayanda kama phone ponse sha free ama phone mkwatoko ife kuno kana tushite tu bando bakita tu bando kwacha mwali monoko ya Afrika. So nishina tupendelela pakuti nchitako participate finish nimpendelela. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So imamule twela kwa chinkanga mwachita record ifintu mwash post pa Facebook apenela pa YouTube na konse twamona ba mwambalete ni la document ya belengele ba Makedu Zulu na ba permanent secretary kwa kangwa pamo when they said we agree bosi twale pembela chidia no but next day ba kangwa ba isa belenge chitali ichilalo la kumbi on my own I disagreed. I said tomorrow the body yaba lungu ya kesi. That's what I said monga ndamwesi kaya kuzande body yaba lungu isibalanda kwa family yaba na lungu na ba lungu bonse taba asumine, and that's what happened. I didn't talk to them, I don't know them personally. The family in Zambia who voted for a party na party. So ichikalamba pamkwais pamwamba tuchitreni kwecho bring those documents yale attend.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mario. Thank you.
Fellow countrymen and women, it is with heavy hearts, yet with profound respect, that we address the nation today. We wish to confirm that the arrangements for the repatriation and burial of our late sixth president, His Excellency Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who passed away on June 5, 2025, at Mediclinic Mediforum Hospital in Pretoria, Republic of South Africa, have been concluded. I wish to put it on record that the government of the Republic of Zambia officially granted passage for the sixth president to come to South Africa for treatment. Professor Njovu, the official doctor of the late president, wrote to me as Secretary to Cabinet, informing us of the planned travel. I responded, Professor Njovu, that as a citizen of Zambia, any citizen traveling out of the country, the government of the Republic of Zambia provides support as long as treatment is outside the country. And I offered that we get Dr. Njovu and our Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary to discuss so that we could support the sixth president in his passage to South Africa. However, it is on record, Professor Njovu wrote back to me advising me that this was for my information and not for any support. So the passage was with the full knowledge of the government of the Republic of Zambia, and no officer was given any instruction to stand in the way of the coming of the president. Secondly, efforts were made, again these are on record, to support the president while he was in South Africa. However, with the history and the relationships, this did not come to pass. Now, in accordance with the family's wishes and the dignity befitting the service of the sixth president to our nation, a state funeral shall be held and shall be presided over by the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, culminating in the former president's burial on Monday, 23rd June 20.
Yeah, so that particular part, Mayo, I played this video for you. First of all, you know, a lot of people said, Honorable Patrick Kangwa was being dishonest with his facts. The president is on record repeatedly stopped from traveling. He says he traveled with authority of the state. Then why did they fire the civil aviation manager? Let me take this call. Another matter. Mr. Kangwa said the president will preside over, superintend, that's a word he used. Superintend didn't mean he should receive the body, because you know that you have details of the agreement that the president was allocated a period to which he will mourn the president when the dignitaries he was going to host will be there. On the other places, the president was not expected, for example, to receive the body. And that day that made the family cancel the program or reschedule was first the program that was released the previous night. Number one, whoever released that program should have been fired by now, because they've caused this crisis. How do you release a program that you have not agreed on? So that program was released. The Secretary of Cabinet called it draft. The second program called combined was released. It was even worse. It even had the church program when the body arrives that there will be a church program other than the military ceremony. That offended the family. What does a church program or church function mean? It even includes body viewing. Say, oh, where? They said, who has agreed on this church service? Who will attend? You know, and then there were reports, because the people that should have received, for example, Mama First Lady, were the spouses to former ministers. President Lungu's ministers, now their spouses were supposed to be among the first to be allowed at the airport. There were all those issues that were happening at a short notice, and the family was not getting an answer. What is this church program? Why is the president receiving the body? But this is what we agreed. Maybe the men that were negotiating didn't tell the president the truth. Maybe that's why he was inserted. But there was comfort, because the Secretary to Cabinet announced that program be cancelled. Treat it as a draft or not official. So they cancelled that program. But they never issued any other program, and the family became saying, look, we are going back to zero. Vane, you've been holding on for a long time. Sorry I had to hold you because you've been calling and I didn't want you to miss a line. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, Mwambawes, this is Howard Mlenga calling from the UK.
Howard Mlenga from the UK. Make your contributions, my brother.
Yes, first and foremost, Ambassador, I would like to pay tribute and commend Honorable Given Lubinda and the entire PF and Tonsa Alliance leaders for adhering to the President's decree to end the day of national mourning. The leaders did not hesitate but instructed that the mourning at the PF Secretariat come to an end. That is true leadership. Ngani bambi ngawale batawe balasa tusanga kuno kunde will not end this mourning, the National Day of Mourning. But the leaders so quite out. If you are so first they instructed that na tuleke. So that is a true leadership. Now fileta the other way, and therefore you the other way. Because even in the opposition, what these guys by UPND used to do was to provoke a situation. Okay, no kuisa ilinganya. So PFS had to respond. Now, since you are the government of the day, abantu kuisa mimwena muhimu. So no mbapa peace mule monako patari. It's because the PF are not responding to their provocation, but more opposition if you are never. So I commend the leadership of Given Lubinda and the Tonsa Alliance leadership for exhibiting maturity in this manner. Then, Kuisa is a empty tomb, empty state house, and symbol of absent leadership. You know, Fiance, obviously including Mudala, but I think is getting a very bad service from the advisors. Our state house, but Bachufia Tayari, Mwasabika Wanabasiya one. Away my advisors, and that's why they are messing him up. You know, the family just put up very simple instructions or demands or to my request. Very simple. If I was advising the president, I would just say, okay, I'll stay away. I'll send my representative there. Yes, and then you comfort the family, you apologize for misunderstandings about Edgar Lungu, and you say that, okay, you continue PF Secretariat open with your morning now, book of condolences opened there, and then you just say, I'll support you with money, okay? And then if you want any support, please don't hesitate to approach us as government. We are behind you. We are sorry for the misunderstanding. So let's soldier on a peace appropriate. Now they are messing him up. If you go on social media, it's very embarrassing, as if there is no head of state. It could have ceasefire. Once some cadres, supporters have and stop putting nonsense per Facebook or wherever. Let's mourn this person, more respect or more dignity and whatever. So I think my advisors very mess up badly. Now, if they can fail to negotiate Chirilo, are they capable of managing debt cancellation in negotiations and other bilateral and whatever negotiations? But if Chirilo, very simple issues, just stay away. If you send the vice president there to represent you, it doesn't mean that that is not a state function. Okay, let's give an example. Ambassador for example, preside over the funeral, but my vice president can get by Nisharu tested funeral area. Otherwise, thank you very much for the opportunity you accorded me. You are educating a number of people. Please continue with this good work. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, and may God bless Zambia. Thank you.
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem there.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and mute your device. Mute your device. Hello, you mute your device. You are live, please. Oh my God. Mute your device. Oh, the call has come through, but he's listening through the program and the... Hello? Sorry, we have to cut this line. I think he's not... Hello, are you there?
Yes, good evening, Ambassador.
Please, you should mute your device when you are calling. Please tell us your name and quickly contribute.
Yes, okay, this is Obi. I'm calling from Musaka.
Obi, make your contribution, my brother.
Fantastic. I've been following you, and today I've been thought of just to also contribute on your program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, what is going on as a country right away is not pleasing. And I would be very honest with you, it is such leaders like you who have access. I can see about how many, this is about almost 1.8 something to 2 million people watching. It is from this conversation where we need to be sober and face the reality and love and unite this country. What is happening now? If you follow it from the bottom of this confusion which is happening now.
My brother, can you quickly contribute? What do you wish to say? Quickly say what you want to say. Yes.
What I wish now to see is unit, and also have proper reconciliation, and possibly have the former president be buried in Zambia. We have no any other country where he can be buried. He was a Zambian, and he served this country for that matter, and we respect that. Whatever
I wish that the praise singers, my brother, thank you. I wish that the praise singers could recognize what you've just said. They've gone on insulting. Even the late president, in his death, they are insulting him, ridiculing him and mocking him. What your cadres are misbehaving. Please tame them. This is what we are saying to President Hakainde Hichilema. Your praise singers are misbehaving. Provide leadership. Hello, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I would like to remain anonymous. I
Thank
just had
you.
a simple question, Wamwamba, and good evening to you.
Good evening.
Thank you for your program. We are watching religiously. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to find out, is the Secretary to the Cabinet, is he political affiliated?
No, he's a neutral gentleman. I was very shocked. Maybe you're looking at the remarks that I played when he became partisan there, clearly openly partisan. He was, I think he became director under DMMU, under President Rupia Banda. And he's been carried over by the subsequent president, Michael Sata. Edgar Lungu promoted him and made him secretary to cabinet after Dr. Roland Musisi. So he's very well experienced. I was shocked by those partisan remarks. It's uncharacteristic of him, but it could demonstrate the pressure in which these civil servants are undergoing.
All right. And then another thing, thank you for that. The other thing I would like is Bamayo, the one who called from Luapula.
Yes.
Would like to get her some airtime, please, if possible. Number so that so she's she seems to be very good and warm, and we are learning quite a lot from her as well.
She has a rich contribution. You know, the other day when she called and taught us about the 3 state funerals that were held in 1 week.
Yes.
You remember that?
To connect.
Yeah.
Yes, I was trying to connect. She's the one when Basangwa called in, right?
Yes.
I was when you are hosting Basangwa. Yes.
Yeah, that's the same
really
contributor.
love to support her.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll pass on the number later.
Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling from the United States. I've been following religiously.
Yes.
With what is going on.
Yes.
My name is Mildred, and I've been following very closely. Some of us, we had our father that used to work in the government back in the days. I'm not going to mention the name. And the ESL is somebody that assisted some of us.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I just want to say that there's a lot of circus going on. We are behaving, Zambians are behaving like maybe the world belongs to us. And not only that, we've even forgotten when Zambia was declared a Christian nation.
Yeah.
We are busy fighting for seats, decisions being made that how does somebody versus the cut off the morning period of time. You know, all those things, I think it's a little bit of stupidity at its highest degree, I'm sorry to say.
Civil language.
Childishness.
I was
born way back in the 70s. Then we might as well bring back one party participatory. The one that Dr. Kaunda used to say. We need to bring that back.
Yeah.
That's why Dr. Kaunda used to say Atiba Matipa, Anenina Saina. He knew what he was talking about. A lot of nonsense. Busy fighting if interpret that wakaena pyo naku gravesite. Somebody should tell me. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwamba. You are doing a very good job.
Thank you very much.
Keep on doing it because I follow you religiously.
Oh, we thank God. We thank God.
Thank you so much, sir.
My brother, let me show the audience this video by Barack Obama. Now, John McCain was Arizona senator for many years, I think 25 years. He was a war hero and was a presidential candidate. And he was beaten by George Bush in the primaries. Before he died, he had brain cancer. He had his wishes. He said, I want, for example, my funeral to be bipartisan. I worked with all parties, whether they were Republican or Democrats. he was Republican. He designed his own funeral, and if you remember, the key speaker at that funeral was not a man who was from the Republican Party, was from the opposite. Barack Obama was a Democrat. But there was one key decision. He said, I don't want Donald Trump at my funeral, and I don't want him to be here. Donald Trump declared a state funeral. Flags flew at half-mast, and a number of days were dedicated to McCain. Of course, he wasn't president, but he was a presidential candidate and a senator. But Donald Trump respected the wishes of McCain. It didn't mean that the state funeral couldn't be a state funeral. It was a state funeral. Just watch this.
To John's beloved family, Mrs. McCain, and as John would say, my friends, we come to celebrate an extraordinary man, a warrior, a statesman, a patriot, who embodied so much that is best in America. President Bush and I are among the fortunate few who competed against John at the highest levels of politics. He made us better presidents, just as he made the Senate better, just as he made this country better. So for someone like John to ask you, while he's still alive, to stand and speak of him when he's gone is a precious and singular honor. To start with, John liked being unpredictable, even a little contrarian. He had no interest in conforming to some prepackaged version of what a senator should be, and he didn't want a memorial that was going to be prepackaged either. It showed his irreverence, his sense of humor, a little bit of a mischievous streak. After all, what better way to get a last laugh than to make George and I say nice things about him to a national audience? And most of all, it showed a largeness of spirit, an ability to see past differences in search of common ground. We were standard bearers of different American political traditions, and throughout my presidency, John never hesitated to tell me when he thought I was screwing up, which by his calculation was about once a day. But for all our differences, for all the times we sparred, I never tried to hide, and I think John came to understand the long-standing admiration that I had for him. Now, in fact, John was a pretty conservative guy. Trust me, I was on the receiving end of some of those votes. But he did understand that some principles transcend politics, that some values transcend party. He considered it part of his duty to uphold those principles and uphold those values. John cared about the institutions of self-government, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, rule of law, separation of powers, even the arcane rules and procedures of the Senate. He knew that in a nation as big and boisterous and diverse as ours, those institutions, those rules, those norms are what bind us together. They give shape and order to our common life.
Okay, there are many calls. I have to cut Barack Obama. The video is about 6 minutes. I think it gives you an idea. I was demonstrating that a state funeral was held. All the dignitaries were presidents, former presidents, and those that were foreign dignitaries that came But President Donald Trump, that was 2018, was missing at such an important state funeral. He would have wanted to be there. But the wishes of the late president were that he shouldn't be available. And Donald Trump respected the wishes of the late senator. I have a caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Tell us where you're calling us from. Mute your device and tell us where you're calling us from. Hello? Hello? Oh my. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello?
Yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm not sure.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening, good evening.
Yes, I would wish just to quickly...
Dr. Nkoma from South Africa.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please make your contributions.
My contribution will be direct to the debate that is here today on the empty tomb, empty state house, the symbol of the absence of leadership.
Mm. You have a leadership institute, so I would like to hear from you.
That is why I've been provoked to come online. When I looked at I said to myself, Usheba Ambassador, 30 minutes. No, I'll try to do it. I'll try to do it in 1 minute. Ambassador, there are a few errors in leadership that are happening in Zambia. And I have wondered why the citizenry has never paid attention to it until now. Constitutionally or legally, State House is designated for the head of state. And immediately one assumes office of president, he has a house designated to him, which is State House, and in State House there's Nkwazi House, where he has to reside. Now, what have we seen in the past 3 to 4 years now? President has not relocated to that State House. Of course, there are other issues that we can talk about in terms of the expenditures that may have gone on in terms of the traffic that he takes from home to State House. That is a topic of another day. Now, in this case, also we have seen that the Embassy Park is a designated place for a burial site for former heads of state or heads of state. Now, in this case, why should we blame the family? If the family, I'm not saying the family has rejected or has refused to use Embassy Park. No, I'm saying if the family of President Lungu decides to say, okay, we are not going to bury at Embassy Park, we'll have our own other site or something like that. That, I always say, it will not justify. And President HH has very little ground on trying to convince the citizenry to the reason why they should be adamant that the burial must take place in Zambia. The last point, Ambassador, which I want to bring about, is the diplomacy, which people have seen some later circulating where they are saying, no, it's not possible for the burial to take place in South Africa unless President HH or the Zambian government approves. I do not think so, because there are no constitutionalized protocols that will bind the Lungu family. As long as the Lungu family has followed the right procedures, like I said before, that South African government will be able to give them a place that can be called a resting place for President Lungu's body for a while. And that is just my contribution, Ambassador, on this topic.
Thank you very much, Doc. I'll call you for a program. I think we need to come and discuss leadership in detail. Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Dr. Nkoma from South Africa. Yeah, hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Honorable. Thank God. I've even been interceding to say, God, what is happening with this line? God, can you please speak to Emmanuel to answer my call?
I'm so sorry that there are so many missed calls. Probably we have to open 3 other lines and put strict rules that you speak just for a minute. But make your contribution.
Yeah. So, let me say something.
Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Europe, and I want to remain
anonymous.
I want
Okay.
to say something.
Yeah, make your contributions.
Yes, I'll be very quick, and I know that many people want to speak. I want to say kudos to you, sir. May God bless you for what you are doing. And I don't belong to any party, but I want to say something. First thing first, Edgar Chagwa Lungu is or was the son of the Almighty God, and I want to say that he's the first president who declared a holiday in honor to give God a day of prayer and fasting. And then I believe and I feel in my heart that this man, that was not his time to die, and I feel like he's like Abel, who cried when he was killed by Abel, and Abel cried to God for vengeance. I feel the spirit of our president is not going to rest until God does something. And then I want to tell my fellow Zambians to say, look, especially those who are saying bad things, who are still mocking his death. Is dead. I want to tell them to say, look, you might have the power today, but you don't know your tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. Only God Almighty knows our tomorrow. And those who are still saying bad things, mocking their families, this is the time to pray for them. This is the time to stand in the gap. This is the time to unite. And I believe more calamities will follow, especially those who are behind his death. So God bless you, Honorable, and I pray for your long life, and may you lead Zambia one day. God bless you so much. Amen. Bye.
Thank you, my dear sister. Wow. But we pray for good things to happen to the rest. Let's take the course. Tap. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Europe, and I'd like to remain anonymous, please.
Okay. Europe is leading today. Make your contribution, my dear sister.
I first of all wanted to thank you for your program. It's very informative.
Okay, we thank God.
And I think an impartial platform. But very quickly, first of all, I want to state that I'm completely non-partisan.
Okay.
And I wanted to build on something you mentioned earlier when you started the program, and that is the representation, people who went to South Africa to talk to the family. So I completely agree with you that perhaps you should have looked at sending the right people. First of all, when you're talking to people who are grieving, you look at your audience. And I say this because I'm a widow.
Yeah.
So if you look at people who are there are 3 people in the family who are making decisions. I'm sure there are other people, but for example, the most important person is Mama Esther.
Yes.
Kuli abakalamba baba tata Edgar, and there's Tasila. So who do you send there? So if somebody comes to me and they're grieving, then they want to grieve with me, and they, for example, got married yesterday and a widow, and they tell me, I would be skeptical. However, if somebody who has lost a partner comes to me and says, I would be open to engage with them. So when you said, why didn't they send one of the former first ladies.
Yeah.
And we have a history of first ladies who've lost their partners. Yes, of course, we can't comment on the one who's dead and one who's ill. But could even be like Mama Tandiwe Banda? So why didn't the government send those people to talk to Mama Esther and appeal to her? So it's done, but I'm saying this because as much as we look at the postmortem, we can learn from that. Going forward, what can the government do? When someone is grieving, chamba after mashika.
Yeah.
So in all this, she needs support. The family needs support. I think we are all forgetting that there's a grieving family there. So what can the government do to help? They can make small steps. I'm appealing to the government to mobilize those former first ladies who've lost their partners to go and support Mama Esther and the family.
Yeah. Thank
So
you, my.
That's
why I love when women call.
Listening to this.
Yeah, when you women call, you give a perspective.
Seriously think about that. This is not about egos. This is about a family who've lost a loved one and who are grieving.
Thank you very much, my dear
sister. We remember that there's a grieving family, even as we make our different contributions, and be more sensitive to the grieving family. I thank you so much, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. I was saying I love when women call. Women call for peace, and they're not confrontational. And, they look for solutions. And I said, look at the number of dignitaries that were speaking. And the dignitaries that were sent, they were all men. And why couldn't they send a group of women who would have sat Navamayo on the mattress? It's not too late. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. And Mkwai. Nimweba ni Mkwai kutumwa ilondolola. Mpale kona ma contribution. Okay, you want to remain anonymous?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So, kulingana nga pwewe na Zambia, whether no PF, UPND, or you don't belong to any political party, nangutwinga monega concept that oyualela ndefi kwa tachimukaripe wonse, impo ya balungu wonse, nachitukaripa. Whether we can choose to come out in a certain way, but the point is, the balungu is a Zambian. Is a family. Both nachitukaripa. Nero muntu engalanda ati vale abashikire ku South Africa. Bonse chikatukaripa, whether you belong to PF or not. And we all make an effort to watch that funeral, which is not okay. That's why the best decision to be made, whichever way, is to bring him back. We celebrate him. Twalisho turosha Zambia. Bakwaya vale mbaba musician. Peace preachers, they will release a song. Abantu uri wonse whether tate mene balungu o ali batemenwe wonse we humble ourselves and reflect tebuto afwe na Zambia. So we nga kwabati tubashike konse, no one is going to win, whether you are UPND, PF, wonse chikatukaripa. So
thank
we can
you.
come out and say no, nave, shan whether wale batukensere or wale batuka, whether wale ponte na family or what. At the end of the day, we are all Zambians. It is part of us. Now, for my family, whether Muarepu sana parting a package, want to try it, because the children affect to Muturi one day. So, at the end of the day, no one is going to win. So, the best is whichever camp we are. I think the best is to just ask for the burial to take place in Zambia. That's the only way all of us are going to have a healing. There is no winner here. All of us we are affected, though we can come out and show ourselves in whatever different way. There is no winner. We have all lost and not to Karipa. So the best we can do is to come together. Let his body be brought back to Zambia and get buried in the same way that we've done. Because we can look back, whichever funeral for our president that we've had, haven't we celebrated? Yes, the death is painful, but at the end of the day, Zambians come together to celebrate. And with this opportunity should not be taken away from us. Because right now we can say, no, it's fine. But at whichever time, we will still come, whether it will be us or maybe by then would have been gone, our children will come together and say, no, we need to bring his body back into Zambia. Of which, I mean, we just have to do the right thing right now. So it's not about...
Thank you, Mwafiash. Thank you, Mwafiash. I think Mwafiash has made a key point. He says all of us are mourning, and he's very sure that all of us are affected deeply, and that the ideal situation is for the late president's remains to lie in Zambia. Malawi newspapers, you are aware that the mediation is just not between Honorable Makebi Zulu and the Vice President and Patrick Kangwa. There is a backroom process that is happening, more intense than even the one you are seeing. This is the one that regards former presidents and current presidents. There's been interventions from Tanzania, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe. And from Zimbabwe, you are aware that President Emmerson Mnangagwa is a personal friend of President Edgar Lungu, and that President Edgar Lungu and President Mnangagwa were at the university together in the same law school. In fact, the late Willie Mubanga, who was being put to rest yesterday, was in the same class with Honorable Emmerson Mnangagwa. So they are all involved. You saw the personal letter that was written by Uhuru Kenyatta, former president of Kenya, who said, this loss is tragic personally to me because this was a personal friend of mine and he was a good man. So in Malawi, there's Bakili Muluzi and his son, Atupele. Atupele Muluzi is an opposition leader from Malawi, and I think he has some form of a relationship, friendship with President Hakainde Hichilema. If you remember at the meeting that was held by Brentes Foundation in Lower Zambezi, Atupele was there. But his father, former President Bakili Muluzi, has publicly gone on that he's mediating this process on behalf of the region. So presidents in the region have informally trusted him to resolve this crisis. So ndeseka na badawa letu kama kebizulu mule iposele nshita iridi ashi ya wakalamba ifufwe banjinga tuila ingira mumwili ashi andeke. So Bakili Muluzi says that it's not too late. He thinks that the burial of late president doesn't necessarily have to take place in Malawi. I mean in South Africa, and he has issued a statement to Times of Malawi, Times 360 Malawi, and he's saying that he has information from Lusaka that the President Hakainde Hichilema has dispatched another set of negotiators to negotiate with the family. Remember, there was an earlier question that I was dealing with where people were saying, we have information here that President Hakainde Hichilema babeta tiwakasongo atikasongo naya South Africa. I said, I can't confirm that. Just call State House or Cornelius Mwetwa, maybe they can confirm. But there's information from Malawi where Bakili Muluzi, who's been involved discussing with the family and with President Hakainde Hichilema and the region, has confirmed that Lusaka has dispatched an attempt, a last-minute attempt to avert what should happen on Wednesday. I don't know if the family will agree. Because the family has a simple request. Hakainde Hichilema, keep away from the funeral. There's a role you play. And chakosela pesa. Baneni mwebani, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Edgar calling you from Zambia.
Sir, kindly speak up so that we can hear you and my audience can hear you. Make your contribution, sir.
Okay, are you able to get me clearly?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so sir, first of all, let me just recommend you for bringing such programs, yeah?
Thank you.
To let people hear. Yeah, now my contributions are over this issue of the funeral, the body of our late president. I think the major thing we have to be done are the two parties.
Yeah.
To reconcile.
Mm.
No matter what, don't know what it may take for these people to reconcile.
Mm.
But reconciliation needs sober-minded people and people with sober hearts. The problem that I'm seeing is that people are too bitter towards one another. And see the reason why they are finding it very difficult, or this is why these people are finding it very difficult to be able to sit down on the same table and reconcile. Me, I thought this death of our former president will be an opportunity for the family of our late president and the family of our current president to do what? To find common grounds and reconcile. But to no avail, things are getting worse. There's no way to let our former president be buried.
Would you like to participate in the program? Yes,
what is supposed to be done?
Okay, please hold on. Please hold on.
On the side of
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Let's take another call. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador, and how are you?
Very well, thank you. Please kindly introduce yourself and make your contributions.
Okay, this is Mark from Joburg.
Mark from Joburg. Yes, Mark, make your contributions.
Yes, please. Firstly, I just wanted to respond. There's a guy who earlier called from Longo.
Yes.
Which sounded like he's not even there. So he said if we compare the two, HH was browsed more than what ICL. So I just wanted to respond to him because this is the narrative most UPND cadres have. If you compare the two, ECL and the HH, ECL, like they are claiming now, was a state property. You cannot even start comparing HH by then and the ECL. So they should know better that a former president and a political party leader are two different people. So I think that narrative, we shouldn't even go there. Let me rush to saying I'm so perplexed, appalled, and surprised also on the handling of this issue by the UPND. Firstly, they announced the mourning period to say 7 days before the body arrived in the country, which was, for me, as they like calling themselves, the first time in history. When Mwanawasa died, we waited until the body arrived, and then that's when the state mourning period started. Same happened with Sata. And traditionally or culturally, when someone dies, either from the village, no one can go and start digging a grave without any family member. That is what I know. So that was a grave mistake again. What are they rushing for without involving the family? I also heard a contribution from, I think he's from UK, where he said, he raised a point to say, we are arguing for these 3-4 years over someone staying in State House. He has chosen his own house. This is the same thing that is happening here. We don't have a law that guides to say this person should be laid here permanently. You know, it's up to the negotiations that are done. You know, we saw this with the KK family, we saw this with the Mwanawasa family, but we had people who understood the feelings of people who lost their beloved one. And they had to sit and negotiate with these families. Unlike a situation where we are seeing, and we have seen a leader who is saying, I don't like that video you played. I don't like to be what?
Challenged. He doesn't want to be challenged.
A leader has to be challenged. And that is how you know that this is a leader. Without being challenged, then you are not a leader. You don't react, but you act according to what the people are demanding.
My brother, thank you, MK, thank you very much. Do you have your last views?
Yeah, we have 100,000 of things to speak about, but all in all, let me just talk to my guys from the UPND. Let them hold their fire.
Please caution them. And you know, that should be the leadership. MK, that should be the leadership from President Hakainde Hichilema himself. Some of the things that are said in his name, you know, by people that everyone knows speak for him, whether official or unofficial, are dangerous.
If I'm a father at home, whatever my children does outside there, it's my name that gets browsed.
Yeah.
Whatever, even if I don't know anything, but it's my name. The upbringing is wrong. Your father doesn't teach you manners, you know? So there is no two ways about it. The Lungu family are seeing everything. I mean, everything that is being posted on the social media, you know?
They even manufactured, I don't know if you saw the recently AI generated, that one, total hate speech against the family of the Lungu. But anyway, said there for another day. Thank you, my brother, please speak to your colleagues in the UPND and provide counsel. Your leaders failed to tell people to behave. Please, you help. Thank you. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Just hold on, Mama. Just hold on. I put you on speaker. Mkwai Mayo, Badishani, Mwebani Mkwai, where are you calling us from?
Now, Susan Kalench calling from Johannesburg.
Susan from Johannesburg, please make your contribution.
Yes, I know I'm just concerned about one thing. Kainde can reconcile even after the burial. We need peace in our country. So as a woman, as a mother, because if Kainde Tawakachiteri reconcile na the Lungus, I feel bad for especially my widow, Mama Esther. So even after the burial, let's reconcile our Esther and Lungu family even after the burial, so that at least we can be together, we can work together, then we'll be better people in Zambia. Because you know, I'm young, and I've got my children who are listening. It will written in the history that Baba Lungu bashikula South Africa because of ukupatana not to reconcile. So this is a very bad that kind of thing we are giving our own children.
Thank you very much.
Even by HH, then you've done what you need to do as a person. You've really helped us as a nation, and we've really helped the Lungu family and the whole entire Zambia. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much, my sister.
We are going to benefit because we'll be there. Even the invitation, we have the invitation. So for us who are based in South Africa, it's a good thing for us who attend the battle for our excellence.
Yo, mukatulose sheko. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where.
Hello, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening. I'm calling from the UK, but I'm going to remain anonymous.
Okay. Please make your contributions.
You know, at no point did the Lungu family ever say that they don't want the Zambian people to have a chance to say goodbye to this man. The only thing they've said is they don't want the president there. That's the only thing they've said. But I feel so bad to hear them being blamed for not, being blamed to say, don't deny the Zambian people. It's not the Zambian people. It's just you. Like, what exactly are you not understanding? Why can't you just delegate? Even in America, Trump was told that he wasn't welcome at a certain funeral. He didn't go. But, what is it that you want to see? We're beginning to think, is there a spiritual benefit to you to lay eyes on this man? What is it? Like, it's just ridiculous. I mean, for them to start doing road works on the road leading to the house? Really? You just happen to be doing road works leading to the actual house. And I even said to my family, I said, there's going to be some security concern that's going to pop up, that's going to make them not take Lungu's body to his house. And then we started hearing all these things. And it's just unreasonable. It's unreasonable and it's embarrassing. The president's behavior is the reason why the South African government was embarrassed, not the Lungu family. Let's just get that straight. He's the one that broke the agreement. An agreement is an agreement, and he keeps on breaking that agreement. So
Thank you.
We don't believe all these lies. We can see through it, and it's just unfortunate for him. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely personal for him.
Yeah.
And we're being dragged into this. So I don't appreciate the South African broadcasting's biased reporting, because they're blaming the family as well, but they're leaving out the fact that there was an agreement. There was even a presser.
Yeah.
This is what we've agreed with the secretary to the cabinet. And then just like the day before they leave, we're being told that they want to close the road to the house. They've drafted a program, and the person who they don't want to be there is going to be at the airport. Hello? It's ridiculous. It's very unfair. So that's just the comment I wanted to make.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
To kill PF. And the same people should be presiding over his 10th memorial. The same people should be putting his ghost to rest forever, and we are watching. We can't accept that. That's why people are saying, what's going on in Zambia? What's going on? Because I don't want to say people were happy and excited when Mr. Sata passed on, because that's a fact. You can check it out for yourself. I don't want to say from day one, after Mr. Sata died, people began trying to destroy his memory by destroying PF.
Just to put it very in clear context, you are saying when Mr. Sata died, some people celebrated.
Yes.
They even began to campaign immediately.
Yes. Yes.
They saw it as an opportunity to get to office.
Yes. So that is a fact. And now, the same people went further when they got power in 2021 to destroy his party. And tomorrow they want to attend the memorial to make sure that even his party dies with him forever. We can't allow that. So for me, I'm waiting between now and tomorrow morning to see what happens. How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter, and you are still mourning, to come and attend the funeral, and be made to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing. I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall in the 10th anniversary? Or how do you get
to be dishonored?
How do you get remembered in a SDA church when everyone knows that you're Catholic and so on? And the state insists. And the worst part is that I have learned that the Secretary to Cabinet is Catholic.
Yes, he is.
And so he's the deputy, Oliver Kalabo. They're Catholic. And they should have told government to say, look, how these things are done, especially Patrick Angwa, who is a practicing Catholic church member, and I've seen him in church even giving mass, Holy Communion and so on. He should have said, wait a minute, we want to participate in this program. That's good. So let us engage the church to which the late President Sata belonged, and then we participate in there. Any insistence that we hold it in a mosque or in any other church building would have been frowned upon. To say, no, sir, Mr. President, we can't do that. Because now I'm getting feedback, say, I don't know much about these things. Someone says, no, there's satanism and so on. So, but the truth of the matter is that
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you Yesterday, June 18th, the people of Zambia were prepared to receive the remains of our former president, but were surprised by the family's reversal of the agreed course of action. At our request, the South African government prepared extensively with military honors mounted by the South African Defence Force, who did so in vain, as the former president's body was not availed by the family for repatriation to Zambia. For this unfortunate situation, we extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa, the government, and the people of South Africa. Fellow citizens, our country cannot afford a state of indefinite mourning. We've done everything possible to engage the family of our departed 6th Republican president, and we've reached a point where a clear decision has to be made. Given these circumstances, I therefore wish to inform the nation that as of the end of today, the 19th of June 2025, this particular national mourning period is officially over.
So he cancelled the national mourning that was running up to 23rd. He cancelled it that day. And this is a discussion we're having. My brother, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello? Oh my God. Hello? Hello? Hello, yes, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, Nebo Eni, Munomulusaka.
Kwaiba eni mwabombeni.
Mwabombeni mkwai, kono boshi kutatule bomba, mwebale bomba ni mwebu.
Kwai.
Mkwai. Okay, contribution yandi. Iriso kuri mwalishi baimo mwale bomba na bachiruba.
Kwai.
Bachiruba balera ndati hanya sulu na hanya banda. Mune omfaida temu babo mfishe bachiruba.
Kwai.
So kuri bambya abantu balera ndati yo ba HH na ba Edgar compare and contrast. Tabenshi befe balera ndabo. For example, mwewo ba mwamboko muri uko. Mwai manaka desert standard ka gofu olo ka fortune. Mwaya chita overtake ba haka inde ichirem. Olo mwabakano kubapere nshita. Nani nshira kuti bapite. Kuti bamireka. So abantu bafuire bareshita compare and contrast. Iyo ine barera ndechisungu ati compare contrast. Ngatabeshi be meaning ya compare and contrast. Bera isa kupairi program. Bare tshira fwebene. Fwebompo bwino esho munechita imu.
Kwai.
Waka inde ni wakateka besitaturekana. But bali rufyanya. Ngani kumbi. Aposo turera ndanga tabari polonko. Kila bachitire kumongo tefisuma. So ukwisa pali ili achirirwedi. Balanda fyatawe ifeta turemifwaya mwikasangwako. Kuyote kubatuka iyo. Tababatukire yawe. Tabakasangu te problem. Bafuire bayikara. Batu makofya nangu ni hamasaka wewe inati hamasaka. Baya kubaya sangwa ba hamasaka. Baka inde bale tambana pa TV. Na bekara. Tabayiruse filifyons.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mazina yangu ni Nebo Betha Lungu. Ni Nebo nkashia kwa Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Chagwa Lungu emwaicho wandi uko nka ine panuma. Nomba ndefu ayokulanda kuchalo cha Zambia uko ati mumfwe ifyo ndelanda munivele maningi vamele vunufunola vila. Nifuna kulavila kuti uyu muvili wa Chagwa wamene utudoselana pali zino ntawi taoneka munga seo lomba tawika mumanja ya mwine Mulungu niya kuti azive viti kuti tichite pali zino ntawi tifuna tinkale pasi tikambilane munga banja tizive viti kuti tichite osati seo te banja tiodonserana na boma tifuna kuti tinkale pamozi tike maganizo pamozi lomba tikunga kumva kuti mailo statement ya chinja lomba seo te babanja titolepo chinji so pora vila vonse hivyo.
Thank you very much. Let's see if we can take some more calls before we wind up. Nkula chila to shine, so I need to rest. It's been almost 3 hours. Hello, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ramwamba.
Good evening, please tell us your name and make your contributions.
Yeah, this is Joseph calling you from Lusaka.
Thank you, Joseph. Make your contribution.
Yeah, no. First and foremost, I would like to thank you for this wonderful program. You've actually, brought. It's really helping us a lot.
Thank you very much.
Sure, sir. Yeah, just to contribute on this issue, which has really, blown our heads like since day one. The issue of the funeral of our late president.
Mm.
It's really unfortunate that it has gotten to this level whereby by now would have even buried our late president. But due to circumstances, I don't know, it's really regrettable. It's really regrettable because, he was our president. We loved him so very much. He was a human being, yes, he might have had some flaws, of which we all do have. But to my part, I think that there is an error to the current regime. They would have just, as they agreed, without changing the programs, this time on Monday would have been putting him to rest. But all I don't know. It's not a good thing to have him, buried in South Africa, whilst he has his own country. Who would want to witness him being buried here.
Yeah.
But that isn't going to happen. Oh, I wish. That's all I wanted to contribute, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Vanetwa wakumatelo, those that wish to call, please call. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm back from Mazabuka.
Yes, my brother from Mazabuka.
Hello.
Make your contributions, my brother.
Yeah, so, sir, what I'm trying to contribute is that you people who are involved in there, you political leaders, can you find some common grounds? Because what I'm saying here are finger pointing. And if we continue finger pointing, start bringing in issues which happened long time ago, we're not going to help. Because it's more like you are rubbing salt on the wound. So the best thing to do, you political leaders who are in PF, in Johnson Alliance, can you find some common grounds with the UPND guys? Sit down to help the Lungu family. Because the people that are suffering now are the Lungu family. As we are just talking. If you to concentrate much on what the majority are saying, the insult they are bringing, we're not going to help. We will continue to make those that are suffering to suffer. So you political leaders, you should be first people to have sober mind. Can you cool down whatever anger you have? Can you forget it now? We are mourning. Sit down with your fellow leaders in the UPND government. Try to find some common grounds with the government of the day. Otherwise, if you continue like this finger pointing, no, this one did this. No, it's because the president did this to the former president. No, it's because the former president did this to the ruling president. We are not going to help. We are learning bad manners. As we are youths, we are still young. We are learning leadership. But with what is happening now, you leaders, you are teaching us bad manners.
Thank you very much, my brother from Mazabuka. Thank you very much for your contributions. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. I'm calling from Zambia, but I would like to remain anonymous.
That is well. Please make your contributions.
Thank you. Just quick contributions to the program. First of all, thank you very much for the job that you are doing, Ambassador. We are all concerned Zambians, and we are mourning as a country and as a unitary people. Number one, of course, yes, we are told that the body might be buried in South Africa on Wednesday, but our prayer is that negotiations, like you have indicated, that there are some regional presidents who have traveled to South Africa for negotiations. We are praying that some kind of an understanding be reached, and then the body be brought back to be buried in the motherland. Now, I want to ask and request the Zambian security, if the body is to be brought into this country, please let the state remove security everywhere, like they are showing. This is some kind of intimidation. When we see police with their big vehicles and police lining up, this we don't want. We want peace. This country is supposed to unite, and this is the time that we are supposed to unite as a country. And number two, muchiwemba tutila ushulumbula mfwa ni mukamwenso chali na mailo abene bate baleteka inoista nga balifuile because we are all headed towards death. At one point you are born, the other point you are dead. Nga chali ni mailo lile tulilanda balifuile. How would he like to be remembered? Would he like his family to be treated exactly the way the Lungu family is being treated? My humble contribution.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Someone has sent me this very urgently. It's been published by, State House media rogues. They're trying to create a conspiracy that probably the president is alive. You probably have seen that earlier. They released some hate speech against the president in an AI video where they were trying to portray that South Africans, ordinary South Africans, had rejected the burial of the late president in South Africa. But now they made a mistake. They even put Jacob Zuma. Now, they're not aware that we are aware that they stopped Jacob Zuma from landing in Zambia, who had come to attempt to resolve this issue. You know that President Jacob Zuma is one of those that has been helping President Lungu, and they are good friends. They've been talking and they've been meeting. You are aware, it's in public domain. And in his condolences, both President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Jacob Zuma literally stated that they've been liaising with the president. So someone has said, Ambassador, you are Emmanuel Mwamba verified. Can you, this conspiracy that is being portrayed by the UPND propaganda media, can you answer it? Let me answer it. And for those calling, just give me 5 minutes, I answer this. So they're saying the Lungu death conspiracy. Remember, Chela Tukuta and others are the ones that started claiming that he's alive from 3 days ago. It's already an insult to the family that is grieving. It's already an insult to all of us that are grieving to this country. But this is how dirty they have gone. But let me answer this. The so-called Lungu death conspiracy. They are saying Lungu checks in for routine medical checkup. President Lungu didn't check in. He's been there the last 6 months. So he didn't go to Pretoria a few days before June 6th, prior to his, prior to the tragedy that occurred. Then number two, Thabo Kawana plays politics and says Lungu is finishing chemotherapy. PF vehemently refused this claim. Number one, Thabo Kawana had no right to speak about the medical treatment that the president would go through. President Lungu was such a good man. You called him, he answered. He asked about how your children were doing. President Lungu, despite what Thabo Kawana has insulted him, he kept on receiving his calls. Remember, he's the one that saved Thabo Kawana's life in 2018. That was the heart of President Edgar Lungu. He will still pick your calls, even if you meant harm to him. Thabo Kawana misbehaved himself, and I'm glad that this particular matter, his government disowned him and disowned his statement. We have stated that President Edgar Lungu had a condition from 2015 that was known, a condition that required him to go for medical treatment every 6 months, a condition President Hakainde Hichilema denied him to seek medical treatment from 2022. We should remember, Nawakwi was receiving medical treatment for her cancer in India. When she reached a critical stage for her cycles to complete, she was denied access to go to India until it was too late. They were evacuating her when let's not go there, but the similarity between President Lungu and President Nawakwi, where access to medical treatment was denied at a critical period. President Edgar Lungu's medical doctors were in our country in November, and they pleaded with him, Mr. President, you have to get to South Africa. But they wish to play dirty here. They say Lungu's lawyer is already well positioned in Pretoria. No, Makebi was not positioned in Pretoria. Makebi has been with the president and Mususu from January for the last 6 months. Ask even people that got to court how many times Makebi missed court because he was in South Africa with the president. Lucky enough, there was a team of his that usually stood in for all of us. Number 3, they are saying there was no notification that Lungu would undergo surgery. Well, the last 6 months, there was no communication that was given on the matter. It was a private treatment. Government refused to treat him. I remember that when I used to take the late President Frederick Chiluba to hospital from 2006 to 2011, I would give briefs. Why? Because it was state. All of us were state-sponsored, and I felt that there was state money being discharged, and I owed an obligation to tell the people of Zambia whatever procedure President Frederick Chiluba was going through. So they say before head of state is informed, Tasila announces the death of President Lungu as former head of state. This is a total lie. The late president died at 06 hours. Former president, but we are on firm ground that State House was informed. There was no statement at 9 hours. There was no statement at 12 hours. There was no statement at 14 hours. Diamond TV and Crown TV even broke the news that the late president had died. And the news went viral. I personally persuaded, when I was woken up by all these phone calls, I personally persuaded that the family must issue the statement. We cannot have the late president's, tragedy be announced by bloggers, by blogs. It was an insult. So Tasila gave us that video 9 hours after the late president died. They says the nation is quickly hyped to 7 days of funeral mourning. You were absent. When the president died, an announcement is made at 15 hours. Given Lubinda took a good initiative and said, for all of us who are mourning, this is our president. He was president of the Patriotic Front from 2014, and he was president of the Republic of Zambia from 2015. We don't know where to gather, come to the secretariat. That was leadership, because the leadership we are talking about of the empty tomb, empty state house was missing. You say, following day, family via lawyer issues a statement that they don't want government and the head of state near the body. It was a wish of the late president. He says, what did you expect the family to do? We should allow and mourn him against his wishes? No. That wish was immediately communicated. Then they say, family makes demand that they want PF security all around until he's buried and excludes the military and the state. This is a lie. I shouldn't even waste time. The family never issued such a statement. Neither did PF issue such a statement. Number 10, both South Africa and GRZ failed to secure a military plane to either bring or pick the body, but private jet is organized. They didn't fail. Both South Africa offered, private well-wishers offered, and the ZAF that had come with Mulambo Haimbe was parked at Lansaria. So there was no dispute about the plane, but there was a principle. The way he came is the way he will go back. He's going to go back as a private person. You ran propaganda that they want to carry money. And we demonstrated to you that when the remains come, ZRIA and clearance processes have to be done. If you think someone will carry money, you can check. We challenged you. Now that the body is not coming, because you're putting it that... do people even need to carry cash nowadays? You know, and or transfer money. Do you need to carry cash nowadays? Do you? But it rises from ignorance. That RISA organizes 5-star generals for presidential guard. 5-star generals. You know, this is the same lie. The UN Special Rapporteur issues an inflammatory statement against Zambia, exposes President Hakainde Hichilema's human rights abuse. The requirement for the special rapporteur, when they issue a damning report against you, they are supposed to come and on the ground and investigate. Of course, they will require your cooperation. There are other countries that may not even allow the UN to come. But we are not Saddam Hussein, you know. So it's procedural that the UN Security Council would come to Zambia after that damning report. It's procedure. Similarly, the honor that was being given to President Edgar Lungu may not necessarily be your honor, that I may warn you. It is a honor that South Africa does. South Africa hosts presidents. Many people of VVIP interest do die in South Africa, like former presidents. They accord you their respect. Sometimes they'll just give you traffic clearance if you are a high person. Maybe familiarize yourself when President Anderson Mazoka died. I was in South Africa. Both the other one, RISA, this one, family makes decision to turn funeral into private affair and bury him secretly and privately. At no time did the family declare this to be a private funeral. At no time. They said we'll transport him privately. I don't know, I want to have communication, how they translated that to mean that it's a private funeral. At no time did they say it should be a private funeral. They said you'll be transported privately. And then there was condition of the role of the head of state in the process. The other one is Lungu is not dead. This is a conspiracy I wish to say. So if Lungu is not dead and you have a president who's frantically sending vice presidents, he has sent 3 delegations, we hear he's also maybe even in South Africa, why would he go if Lungu is alive? What kind of system do you run? There's an empty tomb, empty state house. There's no leadership in our country. You do not have an intelligence system that will tell you 16 days later the status of the late president. I don't know how. That the plan was to bring a body double and bury a fake. Oh, come on. He died in South Africa. South Africa has rules and regulations. Those doctors are sworn. That is why on Monday 9th, when you went as government with your security to pick the body, mayor, nurses and doctors stopped you. Those are professionals. Tabangala kufia musango. If they can never participate in a process like that. They stopped your government. You threatened that you're going to have them arrested. They stopped you. It's not a place you can use threats and dictatorship. So a lie like that can never fly. And the other one, that then Lungu was to move to a safe haven, access his millions and live quietly. President Lungu has demonstrated the last 6 months. He was in South Africa without your security, without your presence, without your support. If he wanted to run away, why didn't he run away? Did he need to fake his death? President Lungu was aspiring to be president of our country. You stopped him. You manufactured a fake judgment against him. You made a lawyer to President Hakainde Hichilema. Reid Shirimi is a lawyer for President Hakainde Hichilema. He was sitting on the board for Hakainde Hichilema's law firm. You recruited him into the Constitutional Court. You know he has no requisite qualifications to do a hatchet job that you did. You fired innocent judges and barred Edgar Lungu from standing. Is that a man that wants to live outside the country? He's a man that wants to help our democracy. So thank you for asking me to respond to this. I had to answer it just immediately to debunk how dirty they have become. They released a video, an AI-generated video. Total hate speech. Then in one breath, you are saying you want the body to come back on Wednesday. Who will listen to you with this toxic talk? In one breath, you are issuing toxic insults. You are issuing toxic narratives. On the other, your president is frantically calling heads of states and calling South Africa to try to resolve this. How does a family resolve this? In an issue as a diplomat, tweet at ceasefire. Stop this nonsense that you are publishing. Stop the insults against the family. There's what is called ceasefire. Let the matter settle. Create a conducive environment for the matter to be discussed. But if you want a standoff, there will be a standoff. That's how I know conflicts. Conflicts, whether it's in Sudan, in DRC, if you want to be obstinate, you want to use mighty over soft power, you want to use your arrogance, I can tell you, you will fail. Calm down your team. Tell your praise singers and your failed media team to calm down and to help you. In one breath, you want the body to come. In the other breath, you unleash insults. How will you achieve this? This will be President Hakainde Hichilema's biggest failure if he doesn't resolve this matter. That empty grave will haunt him until elections. I think we need to go. Hello, my dear brother. Let me take the last 5 calls and I need to go.
Hello.
Yes, my brother. Please tell us your name and your contributions.
So thank you very much, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. Thank you for everything. You see, I've felt so bad when you responding to what Watchdog has written. Wallace was equally reading, one by one what you are saying. I felt so bad. I wanted to contribute and say something good, but I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And the worst thing, what would happen, Ambassador, is a situation where Hakainde Hichilema, as President of the Republic of Zambia, will deny us and our children to be born, and those who are already born, the national monument in the name of Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu's grave. Going by the way he's telling Watchdog to be insulting us, those who are mourning. He's telling Watchdog and Hamasaka to be insulting us. I wanted to contribute probably something, but I felt so bad and emotional over all this. Just the way that he talks, during this same funeral, at some point, I heard him say, we don't want to use state powers. That's what he said in one of his addresses.
Yeah.
Yesterday he said, we don't want to submit our country to an indefinite mourning period. As if someone has asked him to subject our country to indefinite mourning period, because it is not touch upon. I feel so bad, so bad, Mamamba. And someone today sent me, a video of the first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda made it very clear that he was afraid that as he goes, there's one particular figure that he feels will divide this country. And Hakainde Hichilema has done it. He has done it. If he's worth the salt with Ochdog that he has recruited, and Amasaka has recruited to be insulting all of us in Zambia. The noble question, if he's worth the salt, is to ask himself, the country is divided and I am the president. Maybe the noble question is, why me? Thank you, Mama.
Thank you very much. Let me take the last cause, and I think we've had Hawa say what is missing here is leadership. There is failure of leadership. That is all. Failure of leadership. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, please tell us. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I would like to remain anonymous.
Okay, make your contributions.
Yeah, I just want to pose a question. There is a story running on social media that Kasongo was flown to South Africa trying to reconcile the family. Is that true or not?
Okay, thank you. I'll answer that. So there's a story that our beloved Kasongo is in South Africa. President Hakainde Hichilema is usually referred to on social media as Kasongo among the many names. There was a story from Bakili Muluzi that is quoting President Bakili Muluzi. I didn't see the video, but they are quoting Bakili Muluzi, who has been involved in this process. So an online newspaper called Malawi 360 has quoted him that a delegation from Lusaka has left to go and negotiate with the family of President Lungu in South Africa. I think that's where the rumors is coming from. Whether it is the president or his team, there's a story being attributed to Bakili Muluzi. But as at the time of broadcast, from the family side, I called the family and they haven't received any information or any such information. If it is true that the president or a team of negotiators have been sent to South Africa, we'll probably know about it tomorrow. I thought I could answer that question for you and others. There's a call from our dear brother, but he's written a write-up. Let's see if we can just get him to read it himself. Sir, I am so sorry. I didn't even recognize your number because this number doesn't have, I use this phone purposefully for this. But introduce yourself and you can read the write-up because I saw you attached a write-up that probably wanted to contribute.
Well, thank you so much, Ambassador. This is Dr. Lawrence Moedwa.
Yes, sir.
I've been following the conversation around the funeral and all this, all that is happening. A lot of misrepresentations and a lot of truths as well. However, I think we now need to start tilting towards healing and preach more a message of reconciliation, a message of love. The family has decided we must respect what the family decision is. And then we begin to focus more on rebuilding, reuniting the nation, and especially for those in the opposition, to reorganize the opposition and make a formidable voice that the Zambians truly require. It was the wish of the former president to come back into active politics because he realized that things were not going right. There was a lot of injustice, a lot of political persecution, and so on. And this is one of the reasons that brought him back to the fold. we will all be honoring his wish. We'll be honoring him by standing up for democracy of our country and ensuring that we fight and restore democracy, restore the rule of law, restore justice, and so on. That should be the way we should honor him. I think with those few remarks, I would like to thank you for the work you are doing.
Dr. Lawrence Mwelo, I'm grateful that you called, and I'm grateful that you've been listening, and thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your patience. I noticed that you had been trying to call far earlier. I apologize.
No, it's understood. A lot of people would like to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, vanemu wantu wakwalesa tuli kumatero leke ntumone po twala Africa. Yeah, so many calls that we've missed today. Okay, my brother, you contributed, I can see. Okay, mwantu wakwalesa. Here is a summary of today's update. Today we're discussing leadership, and I picked a provocative a theme, empty tomb, because the tomb remains empty and there is no certainty that the tomb dug for the late president will lie there. And I picked the empty state house. President Hakainde Hichilema has chosen to stay in his own. Maybe I'll be persuaded to take this call. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. I had said last 3 callers, so I still can accommodate you. Please make your contribution. Hello? Hello? You are far away from your phone. You are far away from your phone.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Kindly make your contributions.
Yes, good evening. This is Mlenga calling you from Europe. Ineva mwambande for Kranjati. Na tumfa ku Facebook watu Kasongo mbefile tumuita na South Africa. I just want to say that umuntu wa ufi kama mona mention of wa. I just want to say Mwamba advise the family what na church nena yakuda ku South Africa mukusha negotiate kuwela kwa ba president ku Zambia. He has to sign, because I have a feeling that voting Africa mu Zambia uli omuntu kuti achinja amano nokushita fimbi. So please speak with the family ngachako bati na yamukushita negotiate basign shani agreement. And if batulekele president weswebene alale ku South Africa. Thank you, Mr. Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Mkwai. Bakabwita mwabombe kukituoko. Endita. Yo bakabwita nabakonkanyepo instana ipo batlandeni po.
Mkwaichizike mchalo chesu tachuwemi elo ifwenge misepela fweba lechita aspire okuba politician. We are not inspired with the current leadership. The crisis that we have, we needed our head of state to provide leadership. Ifwenge misepela, we are looking up to our leader, President Hakainde Hichilema, because yaba shelepo nangu tupulu kutetu chiteshanya ntungulu shishelepo inengero mbafyo kutira wakateka bali kokumfira kumakadasi ni ba president ba UPND lelolo basa was Republican president ni bakateka wa chalo chonse including imwe ba Emanyoma. So ngatwakwatwa kwasya mchalo, we need the leader, our leader ba Hakainde Hichilema, to provide leadership. I must say that at this particular juncture, our leaders failed us. And it's not too late. I'm appealing to him as our president to put things in order and ensure that there is sanity we bury our leader, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, in a dignified manner. The man did so much for this country, and he deserved to be buried with respect. So talira kweshita na bamayo bamutinta mafye balanda na Esther Lungu tibana kiromutima umubiri wabakateka wesuwaisa kuno. There is adequate need for our leader to be buried here with his ancestors in Zambia. Na totera sana nini shifakudina bambia wale folk tubalande.
Thank you.
Podcast ngakufika 05 mkwa mwilana ka. Presa mbira mwezi na totera.
Natasha Kabwita, Charles Kabwita, wonderful politician from the Copper Belt, vibrant young leader, and he says this is failure. The leadership failure is President Hakainde Hichilema. We can't blame anyone else, and we want President Hakainde Hichilema to provide leadership. Vanjebati, I should answer more calls at Ninaka. Mwe wantu wakolesa. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Iyo nabo mbashana imwe.
Awe tifawe no mkwaitu lerosa.
Endita. Iyo London.
Ne uchanda mlenga mkwai ku England.
Mkwai bachanda mlenga London poyama.
Mkwai chakubalira pondefo kumitasa fepa milimu mlevo mba mkwai uko.
Thank you.
Ukwewa kwa avekala chalo. Nifetile pitamo mfewe na Zambia. Mkwai chicha kiponekera chali vipa sana. But chilepa kuchachakwewa ati ile tuwalo fia abafia shibesu wa Edgar Chagwa Lungu wa 6th Republican President wakateka besu wa Hakainde Hichilema. He has not taken responsibility as a Republican president. I think he still feels he's still in opposition. Balikano kashita wa kateka besu. Eba fiashi besu. He should take responsibility mkwai. Bali fionse felechitika. If atule mwana pali social media, fumakulu bali lwaba UPND. Umusalo la kuba fiasha batushire kwena tachiweme. Nachivipa sana, but being a Republican president, we expected him to take responsibility and issue a statement to stop all these media organizations who are writing very negative statements about our late president. Mukwai kwena tachiweme, we feel so bad, and we expected him to stand up as a president of the country, not as a president for UPND.
Thank you very much.
We wanted him to show leadership in Ngomu Fiashi. You know, when you assume in your position, you become Umufiashi for every Zambian, even those Balaba Shava voted. Number for Chile Monica. Men abale umfa ngabakwati pa social media kumana numbers abalela ndisha rubana pa bafyasha batishire, and Chile Monica kwati tabale showing a leadership. So to Ningalanda chakwati tachiweme elo tachirepera no muchinshi mkwai.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, my brother. No, the insult starts from Koswe. Koswe is a newspaper under him. So that is the other side of him. Because if the president was sincere, he would have closed that newspaper and affiliated rogue media. He would have closed them. You know? Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Emmanuel. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Who's calling?
It's Phil from Namibia.
Okay. Yes, my brother from Namibia. Make your contributions. Hello? Uh-oh. We've lost Namibia. Hello? Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello? Uh-oh. What has happened? It's time to knock off, huh? Yeah, hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. Mr. Emmanuel, your program is just one-sided.
You have the side. Please speak.
Yeah, what I'm saying, during this time of mourning, you were not supposed to have this type of...
Yeah, hello? Oh. The Namibian says I'm not supposed to have this type of... The president declared the mourning over. He announced that the mourning is over. We are still mourning. And we provide daily updates, Mr. Kazunga. So please learn why the program is there. We'll continue to mourn. Hello? And Mr. Kazunga, please call back. Please call back. We want to hear you. Hello? Yeah, hello? Oh, my. Mr. Kazunga says from Namibia that we're not supposed to have this program. No, we are supposed to have it. We have to discuss it. The UPND have unleashed the worst insult against the family. I wish Mr. Kazunga could advise President Hakainde Hichilema to tell his media infrastructure, tools down, let's build the nation, not the insults they're unleashing against President Lungu, who has died, who has passed on, and the surviving family. My brother.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Yes, you are muted. I don't know why. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, my name is...
My brother, mute your other device. There's delay on the actual broadcast when you call live. Yeah, just speak to me as you can hear me. Just speak.
Okay, my name is William Tale.
Mr. William Tale, make your contribution, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm calling from South Africa.
Yes, sir.
So the issue here is that President Hakainde Hichilema is the one causing all these confusions, because if he was I was to say man enough, he was supposed to lead by example and tame his cadres who are making compounded, because he's not taking it up as a leader to show leadership and say, you people stop saying whatever you are saying, let me handle this issue. We all would want to see our beloved president is here buried in Zambia. But when we look at what the insults that are coming from his people and his close people from his inner cycle, we just think, okay, let our beloved president be buried in South Africa and forget about it. Because now what is happening is that these UPND people, including the president himself, they think that they have bought Zambia changed ownership into their name and they own us all. They have to, when they speak, we have to tremble, all of us tremble and just listen to them, which is not good. We have not seen this kind of leadership from the time Zambia got its independence since 1964. This is the worst kind of leadership that has been exhibited by UPND. And in all this, because then I'm not then I'm in support of what they are doing. But kumbali ndela ndati no mwewa fyashi banandi velele ni abana ondelele lekeni tulewombela pamo tuleyangala pamo, but I'm failing to discipline my own children, which is very wrong. ECO, they said HH never accepted the ECO as president, and where is the love coming from now? He never accepted, he never considered defeat, he never respected, he never, if I'm not mistaken, he never even referred to him as his Excellency or Mr. President. He always said, he always used to say Lungu, and even his followers, so him is failing to act like as a leader and recognize the fact that whatever he is doing, whatever his children are doing or his followers are doing, which is very wrong.
Yeah.
So a contribution and Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful. Hello. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. We need to wind up.
From Kenya, sir.
From Kenya. Make your contribution. Your name and make your contributions.
This is the Chalwe Msonda.
Chalwe Msonda, make your contribution.
Yes. This issue of Mr. ECL and the Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, you know, sometimes when you watontonkanya sana, isamkumpeshana mano. You know, our president, but if you look at active in Kwatilimbi, is someone who has been to school. You know, our pesha abantu ati no makadas no. They makadas. Amakadas, they will influence you being depending na pafi wawa.
Yeah.
Are you getting me, my sir?
Amakadas balanda amakadas menshi yakonkom, you know, yakonkom follow.
Mamonaka, you people, you have been kicked out of the government because of cadres, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the punishment went where? To you.
To the leader.
You understand? Yes. So even him, the punishment will go direct to him. But in this matter, it's him. Okay? Once he does something like a bomb, then cadres will come on social media and soften it, apply it with butter so that us we feel it as if it's sweet. Cash inside it's bitter. You see, Mr. President has been told the truth. Say you don't have to be part and parcel to this body because you blocked this person several times. You treated him as if he's someone who has never run this country. Okay, so the time he went to the hospital, he wanted to the hospital, he was blocked. The time he wanted to Asia, I've remembered exactly. He wanted to go to Asia, he was stopped. He was even calling his wife. Even others were even making fun of him. So was he calling? Again, he wanted to go to South Africa, not until you use the a route where the president, vice president, is supposed to pass. Until that money up to now has been fired. I've heard something like that. I don't know whether it's true. Who works at the airport? He has been fired because he allowed the president to pass. Poor president to pass, which means he was supposed even to die from within. He could have died from within, and it would have sounded very bad, you know. So in this issue, but I just want my prayer and your prayer, sir, because you are also aspiring candidate. Yeah, this time you might be a president. Please don't revenge. Please, may God guide you guys, and whoever will come in 2026, because 2026, I'm sure the big man you go, the pack you go. Do not revenge. This must be a lesson for years to come. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much from Kenya. I enjoyed my stay in Kenya. There's a school, a culinary school where usually most Zambians are. And, you know, the biggest presence of the United Nations is in Africa, in Sub-Sahara, I think is in Kenya. And a lot of Zambians, a huge Zambian community in Kenya. And also the Catholic have I think, various forms of school where they send Zambians. So I found a very vibrant community in South Africa. Mwantu Akwalesa, Epona Pelapa Natasha, and thank you that you stuck with me all this long period. Nero kwa load shedding, takwa wanenda na mashama bundles. Lesami pale, we'll see you next time there. Keeps on coming to call. I can't take all the calls. I'm so sorry. We'll hear from you tomorrow. God bless you. Until we see you maybe tomorrow or Monday, we'll speak to you later.
I am cultured different. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem there.
It's a handle of, to kill PF. And the same people should be presiding over his 10th memorial. The same people should be putting his ghost to rest forever, and we are watching. We can't accept that. That's why people are saying, what's going on in Zambia? What's going on? Because I don't want to say people were happy and excited when Mr. Sata passed on, because that's a fact. You can check it out for yourself. I don't want to say from day one, after Mr. Sata died, people began trying to destroy his memory by destroying PF.
Just to put it very in clear context, you are saying when Mr. Sata died, some people celebrated.
Yes.
They even began to campaign immediately.
Yes. Yes.
They saw it as an opportunity to get to office.
Yes. So that is a fact. And now, the same people went further when they got power in 2021 to destroy his party. And tomorrow they want to attend the memorial to make sure that even his party dies with him forever. We can't allow that. So for me, I'm waiting between now and tomorrow morning to see what happens. How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral and be made to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing, I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador, a Catholic, be remembered in a Jehovah's Witness hall?
Yeah.
In the 10th anniversary, or how do you get
to be dishonored?
How do you get remembered in a SDA church when everyone knows that you're Catholic and so on? And the state insists. And the worst part is that I have learned that the Secretary to Cabinet is Catholic.
Yes, he is.
And so he's the deputy, Oliver Karabo. They're Catholic, and they should have told government to say, look, how these things are done. Especially Patrick Angwa, who is a practicing Catholic church member, and I've seen him in church even giving mass, Holy Communion and so on. He should have said, wait a minute, we want to participate in this program. That's good. So let us engage the church to which the late President Sata belonged, and then we participate in there. Any insistence that we hold it in a mosque or in any other church building would have been frowned upon. To say, no, sir, Mr. President, we can't do that. Because now I'm getting feedback, say, I don't know much about these things. Someone says, no, there's Satanism and so on. So, but the truth of the matter is that it's a handle office of the president. In decency, sir. In the name of decency, let's not do it this way. Let's do it this way. What I thought they would do is to go to the Catholic Church where the man is. Cathedral of the Holy Cross would be a bonus, but he used to attend St. Ignatius. Go to St. Ignatius, and then if the parish priest said, no, it's too small a place for the 10th one because the more the state is here, it means we are too many. Let's seek the...
To John's beloved family, Mrs. McCain, and as John would say, my friends, we come to celebrate an extraordinary man, a warrior, a statesman, a patriot, who embodied so much that is best in America. President Bush and I are among the fortunate few who competed against John at the highest levels of politics. He made us better presidents, just as he made the Senate better, just as he made this country better. So for someone like John to ask you, while he's still alive, to stand and speak of him when he's gone is a precious and singular honor. To start with, John liked being unpredictable, even a little contrarian. He had no interest in conforming to some prepackaged version of what a senator should be, and he didn't want a memorial that was going to be prepackaged either. It showed his irreverence, his sense of humor, a little bit of a mischievous streak. After all, what better way to get a last laugh than to make George and I say nice things about him to a national audience? And most of all, it showed a largeness of spirit, an ability to see past differences in search of common ground. We were standard bearers of different American political traditions, and throughout my presidency, John never hesitated to tell me when he thought I was screwing up, which by his calculation was about once a day. But for all our differences, for all the times we sparred, I never tried to hide, and I think John came to understand the long-standing admiration that I had for him. Now, in fact, John was a pretty conservative guy. Trust me, I was on the receiving end of some of those votes. But he did understand that some principles transcend politics, that some values transcend party. He considered it part of his duty to uphold those principles and uphold those values. John cared about the institutions of self-government, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, rule of law, separation of powers, even the arcane rules and procedures of the Senate. He knew that in a nation as big and boisterous and diverse as ours, those institutions, those rules, those norms are what bind us together. They give shape and order to our common life. Even when we disagree, especially when we disagree. John believed in honest argument and hearing other views. He understood that if we get in the habit of bending the truth to suit political expediency or party orthodoxy, our democracy will not work. That's why he championed a free and independent press as vital to our democratic debate. John understood, as JFK understood, as Ronald Reagan understood, that part of what makes our country